Chuggaaconroy is one of the original gaming Let's Play channels on YouTube who have existed on the platform consistently uploading with no controversy to his name for the last 15 years. But earlier today, that changed when Lady Emily came out with a thread accusing Chuggaaconroy of trying to initiate foot fetish erotic roleplay with her while he's in a relationship with another person. It starts when she tweeted out, scrolling through Reddit and seeing dozens of comments calling the popular YouTuber who sexually harassed you for several months last year a wholesome being with only green flags. A couple hours later, she then quote retweeted herself and said, "Fuck it, just to get it off my chest, last year Chuggaaconroy kept trying to get me to initiate erotic foot fetish roleplay with him while he also had a girlfriend. This included sending shoes to my house under the guise of a gift, only to consistently ask for feet pics afterwards. Eventually, I started ignoring him because I wasn't sure how to navigate around him clearly trying to rope me into fetish shit, and in return, his messages to me got more frequent and aggressive." She then shows various Discord screenshots. This first one is from June 11th, where Chuggaaconroy says something to her and then follows it up by saying, "And beautiful. So, I originally planned to go with black with a floral pattern, but they lacked it in your size. So I went with what I thought was most likely to go with any clothes." She responds, "Oh, honestly, great call, because I love black high tops, but haven't had any in years and years." Chugga responds, "Hahaha, it's my personal favorite shoe." She responds, "It's a great shoe. Goes with everything." Chugga responds, "Do I get to see you in them?" These next set of messages are from September 16th, and it starts out with Chugga saying, "Hahaha, thank you. Trying to get a lot done. I want to finish the series, or at least get close so I can travel to Scotland to see my significant other soon." She responds, "Oh cool, I didn't realize she was in Scotland." Chugga responds, "Yeah, pretty far, but we're thinking of immigration next year. Would you like to pick up where we left off last night?" Hahaha, it dropped off suddenly. You tend to disappear. An hour and a half later, he then says, "Aw, gonna ping you once more." And then the next day he says, "Well, hello. Have a nice doctor's visit?" Then 3 hours later he says, "Sorry to ping again, just wanted to know." And then 5 hours later he says, "Damn, you're no fun. Kidding, just a little concerned." An hour and a half later he then says, "Sorry, that was rude of me. I shouldn't say stuff like that, even jokingly. You have your own stuff going on as much as I do." 2 hours later he responds, "Hey." And then 3 hours later he responds, "Hey, sorry, am I bugging you too much? I just got done with work and saw I hadn't heard back." 25 hours later he says, "Hey yo, how's today? Feeling any better?" And then 3 days later he says, "Hey, sorry if I'm bugging you. I understand you've got your own stuff going on too. I just wanted to wish you well tonight after seeing you talking about how much being sick set you back. I've really enjoyed talking to you more through it. I'll leave you be after this message in case you need rest." This next message is from October 26th when he says, "I missed you." Then on the 27th he says, "Are you doing better?" 28th he says, "Blah." 30th he says, "Blargan." And then on the 1st of November he says, "Hey, hope I'm not piling it on. I just saw you were on." And then on the 6th of November he says, "Hello." Emily continues her thread by saying, "As far as I know, I'm not the only nor the first person he's done this to. He would try to assure me everything is fine, while also clearly trying to initiate fetish italicized text RP." She then shows some more Discord screenshots. This one is from the 9th of September where she says to him, "That's what I thought too, lol. I was like, I could fix this, but it's funnier if it's flawed. At times I do miss the versatility of the old avatar. It was fun to mess with." Chugga responds, "Is that the face you make if I ran off with your shoes at a con?" She responds, laughing my ass off, something like that. Chugga responds, "Ha ha ha ha, what would you even do?" This next DM is from September 13th, where Chuggaaconroy says, "Yeah, being forward with you because I'd rather not keep anything from you, and let you make the best decision for you. I am into that, but only with my significant other. I just also like talking about shoes with people because it's also an interest. I talked with my significant other about this when we started dating, and she told me I can talk about shoes with other people because it isn't sexual with my friends. It's something I enjoy talking about with my friends too. I know that might be a lot to share, and I'm sorry if it is, but I feel it's best to just be open with people and consider what I'd like to know if I were in their position." Emily then responds to Chuggaaconroy sometime within 20 minutes of the last message we read out, and then Chuggaaconroy responds, "Good, glad we understand each other." Walks up behind you and trips you with some fancy footwork. You thud to the ground, and I yank your sneakers off in an instant. "Ha ha ha, loser!" Chucks them at you. Lady Emily continues her thread by saying, "It had started with him attending my Pokemon Black streams last December and chatting. We started talking in DMs because he seemed chill. Then on June 4th, I uploaded a selfie, and he zoomed into my shoes in the background and messaged me about them." She then shows this selfie she tweeted, where her shoes just happened to be in the background, and then some DMs from Chuggaaconroy that starts out by him saying, "Nice sneakers." She responds, "Lol, thank you." you. I need new ones, to be honest. My everyday pair is starting to see some damage, lol. Chugga responds, seems sadly typical due to thin fabric. She responds, yeah. The curse of liking shoes that aren't durable. Got them on sale though, so for $20, can't complain. Hope you've been doing well. Chugga responds, hey, thank you. I just finished editing a video that was nuts to make. It covers the small you can develop in Pokemon. An hour later into the conversation, Chuggaaconroy asks, so like, do you have a P.O. box? She responds, not at the moment, no. Chugga responds, oh well, I was going to see if I could partake in birthday niceness. They then talk about Pokemon for a bit more, and then Chuggaaconroy says, if I may be so bold, sneaker size? She responds, oh, generally around this size, give or take a little, but it's usually what works most often. Chugga responds, nice. She responds, yeah. And then Chugga says, okay, well, I'll figure something out. Not sure if you have any dislikes for me to be aware of. Emily continues her Twitter thread by saying, convos would often derail suddenly. One moment we'd be talking about Nintendo games, and then it would shift immediately to feet talk. He was very persistent in commenting how big my feet are. I tried to respond with blunt jokes to make the vibes less creepy out of nerves. She then shows video of these Discord DMs to prove that it's actually from Chuggaaconroy. I'll read out the relevant messages as I let the proof scroll by on the left-hand side. The start of the first video continues the conversation that we last read, with Emily responding, I'm sure whatever you get me I'll like. Chugga responds, haha, how nice of you. And then she responds, haha, of course. On June 7th, Chugga says, sent you some stuff today. I had a plan A I couldn't do because your feet were too darn big, so I went with a different idea. She responds, oh lol, I'm excited to see what it is. Thank you so much. Chugga responds, wow, you took what I said surprisingly well. She responds, laughing my ass off, I know my feet are big. It's a thing. I'm curious what plan A was. Chugga responds, hahaha, really? It's a thing you joke about? She responds, hahaha, I mean, I'm not supposed to advertise, but it's just kind of a fact of life. Chugga responds, hahaha, that's a fair stance on the issue. I'm lucky I'm a 12. One size bigger and no shoe stores would carry my size. These next set of messages I want to show are from September 13th, and they're just talking about a video game, but then suddenly Chuggaaconroy responds, okay, I'm gonna miss your shoes. It was kind of nice being their caretaker again. Looks at them in my hands. As hard as it was at times, they stunk horribly. She responds, oh yeah, sorry about that. It is what it is. And then Chugga responds, man, big and stinky? You've got it all. And then Emily makes one last tweet in her Chuggaaconroy thread when she says, and for those of you asking how I know it was his actual Discord and not an impersonator I was talking to, beyond the fact that I ran it by mutuals of ours to make sure it was valid, here's our first connection over Twitter leading up to things going to Discord. She then shares the proof, and once again I'm going to read out the relevant messages for you. Chuggaaconroy reached out to her on December 30th, 2022 by saying, that is nuts. As someone who worked with a lot of conventions, everyone kinda always knew Vic was weird. People just kept letting him do it for so long because he was so popular and drew in crowds. She responds, God yeah, that's what I've heard from everyone. I remember meeting him in 09 at a con, and even then I knew he was kinda weird around me. His downfall has been a long time coming, and he has no one to blame but himself. Chugga responds, seriously, I had dinner with him once through a mutual friend, and he wore leather pants, and talked about how hot he is, and this was like, in a hotel lobby burger place. She responds, oh my god, yeah, that tracks. Chuggaaconroy then responds by talking about Pokemon, and this conversation about video games and movies and stuff continues until February 16th, 2023, when Chuggaaconroy asks if she wants his Discord, and then she sends it to him. Shay Frillis responds to Emily by saying, soul-crushing news. Sorry you had to deal with this. King K says, this is horrible. Sorry this happened. Opalus says, can we see some of the screenshots uncropped? Some are just random messages with no context, and others lack what assumedly would be your response to things. Currently, what he did seems cringe and annoying, but that's not enough to justify a public expose, especially when the screenshots show no signs of communicating your discomfort prior to cutting contact. Imani responds, the screenshots are quite obvious. Opal replies, they are obvious he's cringe, and couldn't take a hint of ghosting for a month. Bad behavior but not worth exposing. It doesn't really show sexual harassment, since we don't see how she responded to some of these messages. Leaf responds by saying, one of the screenshots admits he's into feet, but agreed with his significant other that shoe talk with others was within boundaries, implying it falls enough in his fetish to be gratifying. I don't know what else you need to prove this stuff was fetishistic in nature. Opal responds, not really what I'm contending with. Just want to know what she said in some of the screenshots, since it can make or break the accusation. But I didn't realize asking for uncropped screenshots was so bad, lol. Good link to click responds to Emily by saying, take care Emily. This behavior is unacceptable, and Chuggaaconroy needs to be held accountable. Lady Villainy says, he didn't ask to see your feet or to roleplay. He sent you some shoes for your birthday, and asked for a pic of the shoes! Sure, it's a bit odd, but you were making a big leap here. He was 100% open about B, and you made A sexual, after he clearly stated it wasn't? Misunderstanding? Lee Speaks says, I'm not familiar with the other person involved in this, but I will say that covertly coercing someone into participating in your fetish is so insidious, and feels just as violating as overt harassment, and it makes me sick to see people not taking this seriously because of that. Little Karibo says, truly sorry that you went through this. Black Maskly says, everything else in the thread is gross/tone deaf, and no one should have to go through it, but sending a whole pair of shoes as a gift for his secret satisfaction is just an ick I can't fully describe. Very sorry this happened to you. Hope the weight on your chest is lifted. Super Messy says, I saw Chuggaaconroy and I don't think my heart ever sank and broke harder and faster than this man. Isaac says, the audacity to double down. Can we pick up where we left last time? Laughing my ass off. And while it isn't a deal breaker or a career killer, it's definitely weird. Scotty quote tweets Emmeline says, content warning for sexual harassment. Please read this thread if you're a fan of Chuggaaconroy. He sexually harassed my friend last year several times, so it looks like I won't be watching his videos anymore. Expand Dong says, Chugga did what? Bridget says, if you were trying to turn an otherwise friendly conversation in a way to satisfy your fetishes, you were objectifying the person full stop. It doesn't matter what excuses you make, or what you think you were perceiving it as. Be normal about your female friends. Fuck. Big Pat says, read the word Chuggaaconroy and my heart fucking sank, dude. Aki says, for fuck's sake, how hard is it to not be creepy? Genuine question. Keita Aria says, YouTubers I grew up with be normal people behind the scenes challenge. Impossible. Krabby7 Plays says, I would wait until Chuggaaconroy makes a response, because there isn't really that much evidence, and Discord DMs can be easily faked. This isn't the first time someone faked this type of shit towards a famous content creator. Vixel Fox says, remembering the Pro Jared situation from a few years ago, I don't think it would be smart to choose a side on this yet, considering the lack of evidence supporting the accusation. Until more people come forward or we hear from Chuggaaconroy himself, I'm not gonna make a stance yet. Nivika reacts to the allegations by showing this clip and saying, I can't believe Chuggaaconroy of all people.
Thought about killing myself.
Ambi says, Chuggaaconroy? Ozzy shares this clip with the caption, it's a real shame to hear this. I really hope Emily doesn't have to endure any more weirdo shit from Chugga. At least he's practiced for any potential apology video.
I'm telling you, man, we're gonna need that apology video by the end of this. Oh no. I want you to know that this is not who I am. It is the character that I play. And they're a completely separate entity from me.
It's just a bit.
And my creative input on my own character has nothing to do with the type of human being I am. That was a little too on the nose. That was a little too real.
I'll ask you to give.
Larry Zeepsterd says, Chuggaaconroy, it's over. It's never been more over than it is now. It's even more over than was previously thought possible. Anthony says, liking feet isn't even the problem in Chugga's case. It's fucking everything else. As someone who really likes both Chugga and Emily, this is just really upsetting. Nuggy says, the only thing I don't understand from the thread is the claim that Chugga tried to encourage ERP. This does not come off as ERP. This feels like a Looney Tunes gag he wrote out. Himaz says, Chuggaaconroy when he reached the Footprint guy's house in his Pokemon Platinum Let's Play. Victor Sigma says, why can't YouTubers just be normal? What the fuck do you mean Chuggaaconroy sexually harassed someone? Vic of the Stars says, Chuggaaconroy erotic foot fetish sexual harassment allegations is not how I wanted nor imagined 2024 to start. When you find out your goat is washed. NTom64 says, in light of this Chugga nonsense, some wisdom I have picked up over the years. 1. Keep your fetishes to yourself unless you have explicit consent to start and or continue discussing them. 2. Don't build up people as perfect. It never ends well. 3. Be careful of living in glass houses. Maple says, every fan of Chuggaaconroy right now.
Tore me apart, but I learned an important lesson.
You can't count on
Letter ABCD says, no Twitter. Chugga having a foot fetish is not even remotely the issue with the allegations. Alex/Aubrey says, just read into the Chuggaaconroy shit and take that seriously. Please, read it over. And don't immediately hop into skepticism because it's a YouTuber you like. This sucks tremendously, but take things like that seriously regardless if that's your favorite creator. Yuri shows this picture of the Grinch slithering around with the caption, Chuggaaconroy at the Foot Locker. Scott Space King says, before the Chugga drama gets messy, looking at this is going to be a big one. It needs to be said. Anyone who takes advantage to start shit with the Paper Mario, Pokemon, or Xenoblade communities are terminally online and need their asses kicked. This isn't about that. Bonk then shows a clip from Chuggaaconroy's Pokemon Crystal Let's Play with the caption, hey Chuggaaconroy, do you like my new shoes? Chuggaaconroy.
Oh my god!
George OD says, it makes sense now why Chuggaaconroy loved this game so much, showing a screenshot from Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, where the dragon boss says, so, care to take a whiff of the rich yet delicate scent of my world-renowned feet? With Mario replying, maybe just a quick sniff. Reese says, please do not make the Chuggaaconroy situation about Paper Mario. It is not relevant to this at all. In Rainbow Roads then replies, him burying Sticker Star was pretty fucking weird though. Reese responds, that has nothing to do with this situation. Literally anyone could have buried Sticker Star in their backyard. It was just a bit. In Rainbow Roads responds, just because anyone can doesn't mean it's not weird. The Sheep Killer says, Chuggaaconroy when you ask him if he hates Sticker Star. As somebody with a foot fetish would say, yeah. Funny Rack says, notice that the conversation around Chuggaaconroy has immediately shifted to being about his foot fetish and away from the more important part of him sexually harassing someone because a foot fetish is funnier than sexual harassment, I guess. Not one to ignore Palestine shares this clip from the TV show Ted and says, expecting Chuggaaconroy's response to be something like this.
I think if we all just take a couple of deep breaths here and just try to... Fuck!
But it seems like not one to ignore Palestine was wrong about what Chuggaaconroy's response would be, as within the same day of the allegations coming out, Chuggaaconroy responded by saying, hey, I just want to say I'm sorry to Emily and to you, our community. I apologize for my mistake of overstepping the boundaries of our friendship and causing her to hurt in the process. This will not happen again. I'd rather have time to collect my thoughts than react immediately, and ask that you do not contact my friends about this. I will talk more about this in a few days. Siggs responds by saying, use this reply as a we forgive Chuggaaconroy button, like if you forgive. SJ Man says, I might just be a defender, but I think this is a good apology. At least he's taking accountability and apologized for what happened. I think that's good enough. Kaisa says, not at all what I was expecting, but I respect you for coming right out and saying it. Sorry is the first step. What's really important is how you make up for your mistakes. I look forward to hearing more from you. Brandon says, I had a gut feeling that you hadn't done any of that with ill intent. I've watched you for several years, and not once have I ever had an inkling of your going out of your way to hurt someone. I thank you for handling this professionally and not having a visceral reaction. Arcade Guy says, thank you for apologizing. As someone else said, the next step is to learn from it and not repeat it. Wandering Soul says, don't be sorry, dude. She ghosted you and didn't give you her boundaries of anything. Pat says, it sounds to me like there was an issue of communication in part of this. As mature adults, when there is something going on that someone isn't okay with, the person in question should say something. Before anyone gets on my case for this, I'd say this to anyone. We're adults. JV3 Objection says, y'all stop telling him he did nothing wrong. You were not supposed to immediately ping your friends in hopes they do foot fetish RP with you. Vito says, it's cool, man. Rather than directly tell you she was uncomfortable, she refused to step up and set boundaries. You should learn to take a hint, but you never violated her consent. Bane says, I trust it won't. But saying overstepping boundaries is letting yourself off lightly. That wasn't what that was. It was actively pursuing someone because of your fetish, multiple times, seemingly all initiated by yourself. That's not an easily made mistake. That'd be a choice. Plain Rock responds by saying, foot fetish theory. Lockstep 1 says, ugh, I really think Chugga was just being stupid and didn't really mean most of the things he said. I really want both Emily and Chuggaaconroy to be safe and both mentally okay. Joey says, Twitter really needs some fucking nuance for once. There's no bad guy here. Someone overstepped boundaries without realizing and was never told he did, and someone felt uncomfortable and thought something was one thing that it wasn't. Alex says, I still love Chuggaaconroy. He made a mistake. He owned up to it and apologized. Like any other person should, good, big YouTuber slash influencer or not, see, it's best to take accountability for your mistakes. I knew that he would be remorseful. I just knew it. He is a good dude. Pownick Mania says, glad he was immediately upfront on the situation and didn't dig to a deeper hole, but until his explanation comes in, he shouldn't be free and immediately forgiven for what was done. The damage is already set, just hoping for the best. Dick Masterson says, fuck that. The text Emily released are revenge porn, meant to humiliate and embarrass you. Bitch could have blocked you at any time. Juppy Hornet says, I like Chugga's content and all, but we've got to stop responding to clearly problematic behaviors with, but what if they are autistic? I'm autistic too. This kind of thinking just makes us look bad. You don't have to be neurotypical to know not to force fetishes on people. Lady Emily responds to what Chuggaaconroy said by saying, re the apology. While I'm not sure if I fully accept, I do wish you the best in growing from this. I find the framing of this as a simple mistake concerning. So far I've talked to half a dozen women who have shared similar stories. I hope your future apology acknowledges that this isn't just an isolated incident with me, but a pattern of behavior with several women over the course of the past decade. I hope you were willing to own up to that fact and re-examine the ways you interact with your fans, your peers, and women in general going forward. Gloomy Pine responds by saying, his fans are immediately back on his side. Wow. Anthony says, I'm sorry this happened in the first place. I know I can't say much else, but it's such a rough situation. Curviax says, it sounds like he broke boundaries with some people. I hope nothing has gone to full-on abuse of power and demand of actions without consent. This being a pattern is bothering, but with professional help, he may redeem himself and change his ways before this attitude worsens. Sig's response to Emily by saying, he is weird, and then Amy shows the reply Sig's made to Chuggaaconroy, saying to use his reply as a we forgive Chuggaaconroy button, and says, this you? And then he responds, no! Tuya responds by saying, yikes Emily, I'm so sorry this happened to you and the other victims. Also, to the fans who have already forgiven him despite them not even being the main victims, y'all disappoint me. Dautisser says, as someone who has autism, it's concerning there's no direct rejection of Emil's advances anywhere in your DMs. Emil being the real name of Chuggaaconroy, not a misspell of Emily, just to clarify for you guys, but regardless, he continues by saying, I'm sure you were trying to be nice by diverting the conversation, but I feel he would have dropped it if you had been upfront. He didn't know how you felt in my opinion. Dogfu says, if your takeaway is Chuggaaconroy has a kink and that's weird, and not Chuggaaconroy sexually harassed people, you're a fucking doofus. Princess Zimnaz says, as someone who has dealt with a person trying to force their weird ass RP onto me, some of the responses to the Chuggaaconroy situation are so disgusting. Yes, it's still sexual harassment if you're trying to rope or pressure someone into playing into your kink. Jesus Christ. Curly Squared says, wait, before I forget, the Chuggaaconroy situation having people defend him by saying, oh well, what if he didn't know? What if he was awkward? Is using weaponized incompetence and places the onus of blame onto the recipient of weird comments when that isn't how that works. Derry says, I do respect that Chugga admitted to it, but I don't respect the people that are still making defenses for it. They then show a reply Buddy M made to Chuggaaconroy where they say, anyone with knowledge of how autism works knows you were data collecting for a special interest, which is something very common among people on the spectrum. I think Emily was wrong to make this public. She should have told you if she felt uncomfortable. Sai tweets out, the double standard to Emily. You have to be an adult and stand up and explain to him that you don't want to talk about your feet. Regarding Chugga, he's just so awkward and cringe. He's on the spectrum. He's a precious innocent baby boy. It's so sad she's doing this to him. Chakra X2 says, thread, not defending Chugga here. What he did is gross. What's confusing to me is that this apology was enough for Emily to sort of forgive him. She could have just said, what you were doing is making me uncomfortable. And I honestly think Chugga would have stopped and apologized. In like an hour, she's ready to move on and wish him the best. I honestly feel this is more wanting to dismantle Chugga's wholesome dude persona than actually seeing any justice done. A persona, by the way, that wasn't at all a thing. If you watch The Runaway Guys, he makes so many horny jokes. TRG, or The Runaway Guys, for those of you who don't know, is a collaboration channel between Chuggaaconroy, Proton John, and NintendoCapriSun. The Wheel of Fortune clip I showed earlier in this video is a clip from that channel for context. But anyways, continuing on, Chakra X2 says, like, what the fuck? Did this really need to be posted about and start trending on Twitter? Emily obviously isn't obligated to explain a neurodivergent person why she's uncomfortable, but then to explain why she's uncomfortable on Twitter feels like it nullifies that. This might be a parasocial take, but I'm certain that a lot of people explain to Chugga their boundaries because of who he is. He isn't bad, he just needs to be told directly, and to describe him reaching out with blargin after being ghosted as aggressive is nuts. I don't know, this entire thing stinks. Chugga is not innocent at all. This isn't me defending him, but Emily sure wasn't after an apology from some big YouTuber who couldn't have been held accountable by someone smaller. Yeah, Chugga has more subs, but considering his videos only average 50 to 100k, and she has 100k subs, but gets 800k to a million views per video, I think they are on equal footing. This doesn't need to be a call-out post. The Maverick responds by saying, "This is the thing that bothers me. From what I read, Emily made very little effort to dissuade the shoe talk. Seemed pretty positive in their responses. They went nearly 9 months chatting and never expressed their discomfort, instead choosing to ignore them at the end." Chakra responds, "Exactly. And while for the average person that might be enough, Chugga is neurodivergent. He was assuming she was busy or was stressed. Anything but being ghosted." Leaf Razorstorm says, "I think she was just ready to assume the worst, and thought a simple no would make him even more hostile. She never thought he would make a public apology the very day she calls him out. That hardly ever happens with abuse stories like this." Chakra responds, "Which is fair, but I hope that makes her realize that Chugga didn't really mean any harm. Shows that he very much didn't realize what he was doing. Probably believed in the harmful stereotype that neurodivergents will get mad and hostile if you tell them no." The Grand Doof says, "I'm sorry, but I really think it's really silly that she just had to take this to Twitter and not resolve it privately with him, or with the help of a friend. I really don't think it would have been that difficult to just initially say, 'Hey man, you made me feel really uncomfortable.'" Chakra responds, "Yeah, would have been less effort than what she did in the post. But what spurred her on wasn't her deciding to expose him, but because a Reddit post said Chugga was wholesome." The Grand Doof responds, "That's such a shitty and selfish reason to expose though. I'm not saying Emile is completely innocent. Being neurodivergent isn't an excuse to make people feel uncomfortable, but it just feels like she wanted to dismantle that perception people have of him." Chakra responds, "That's what I said in my post. What Chugga did was wrong, not defending that, but it really feels it wasn't about how he made her feel uncomfortable. It feels like it was wanting to tear down a perception that really didn't exist, at least to actual Chugga fans with the runaway guys." Chiza the person says, "She wasn't the first or the last. He kept on doing this with multiple people and never thought of stopping. She felt scared and wanted to share her experience. She's probably still scared over how much power he has. She just wants to move on, but she couldn't let him get away with this." Chakra responds, "I'm putting a pin on that multiple people until they show up. I already seen one girl associated with Emile defend him, but she deleted her post because people harassed her for it. If there are others, I will 100% throw Emile under the bus with evidence." Kyle responds to Chakra's post by saying, "Not everyone's that confrontational. I think she just wanted things to stop quietly and just thought it was easier to try and move on than it was to confront him about it. Even with the autism, Chugga's an adult, and none of this was warranted. This was never excusable behavior." Chakra responds, "Not everyone's confrontational, yet she came on Twitter with what she wanted to confront him about, like she brought was okay bringing this up to millions, and had it all organized and ready to go, but couldn't tell a neurodivergent person, 'Hey, I'm uncomfortable.'" Kyle responds, "Yeah, after the fact. I can't say for sure what's going on in her head, or how things played out, but it might have just felt easier to talk about it after things were over, than it was to say it to the person in the moment. That feels pretty normal, honestly." Chakra responds, "To get screen caps of these discords, record on your phone the video to show it's legit, and actually can scroll seems like a lot of effort and time putting things together. All after months ago she stopped talking to him already, and she got upset by a Reddit post." Mikey responds to Chakra's post by saying, "Laughing my ass off, how is this not victim blaming?" Chakra responds, "I'm saying the victim's actions of exposing someone are iffy. Again, what Chugga did was wrong, but you could tell him to stop, like using the wrong pronouns by accident. You wouldn't go on Twitter and drag them as transphobic. You'd go, 'Hey, I actually go by insert pronoun here.'" Thoughtless responds to Chakra by saying, "Nah, it's still fucked in my opinion, cause he's a giant YouTuber with money and power imbalance and whatever. Being socially intelligent enough to have that much influence is part of the job description, and if he's incapable of that, he should get a job that doesn't require it." Chakra responds by saying, "People say giant, but his active audience is 50 to 100k viewers. Most of that million subs outgrew him and don't watch him anymore. Meanwhile, her videos get a few million views each time she posts, and she's an editor to a successful YouTuber. There isn't much of an imbalance." Now moving on to one last thread about this, Richie says, "Here are my 2 cents on this situation. I feel this needs to be said in regard to everyone involved. Neither Chugga nor Emily are bad people. However, what Chugga did was very bad, even if it was unintentional. You never know how uncomfortable you can make someone just by talking about kinks or anything like that, and there's no shortage of people who want nothing to do with that kind of stuff. Chugga should have been either very careful or shouldn't have brought up the subject at all, and I'm sure Chugga doesn't want any of his fans chance to defend him the way they have, by saying he has autism, or the boundaries should have been communicated to him. Neither are good defenses, and here's why. 1. Chugga is in his very early 30s, and while autism can explain a certain behavior, or missing certain cues, it does not excuse it. And it is a bad habit to excuse or blame autism for behaviors that you know are not okay. 2. At least with this situation, not everyone wants to have to admit they are uncomfortable, especially to someone who should know better than to do the uncomfy behavior. Speaking as someone on the spectrum, it is important to be mindful of what you do and or say to others and the effect they might have. Instead of blindly defending Chugga, which is something I can tell Chugga does not want his fans to do, wait until he can speak for himself when he is ready. And try to put yourself in Emily's shoes, and try to see how she might be feeling right now. She must have felt very uncomfortable, more than we realize, and definitely the most affected person in this situation, and that is not her fault, nor should she be shamed for it. So a lot has happened with the Chuggaaconroy situation since my last video. As promised, he made his full response to Emily, but after that, some more of his ex-friends came out against him, most notably MasaeAnela. We will get into all of that, but first, let's check out what Chuggaaconroy said in his full response to Emily. It starts out with him saying, "Hey all, I ask first of anyone who thinks it's helping to insult Emily on my behalf, please don't send any further negativity her way. Emily should be treated with respect. I know that I have hurt Emily with my actions. These are choices I made myself, and I don't think it's relevant how I felt or what my intentions were to justify my actions. I just want to say the end result is that I really hurt you and made you feel uncomfortable. I hate that anyone made you feel that way, and I wish you the best. It took me longer than it should have to take the hint that something was wrong when you cut contact with me. I shouldn't have assumed you were just busy with traveling and that things were fine. I only began putting it together when the silence continued. I pestered you for too long, and I apologize for doing so. When you communicated this with me privately a few months ago, I apologized to you directly, and promised I would never repeat this kind of behavior with anyone else. Once you shared how I made you feel, it was a huge wake-up call, and I immediately sought professional help through therapy. I've worked in the months ever since then to do what you have wished for me, learn and be better. I have done and said similar things in years past with other people. I am still friends with some of them, while I have fallen out of contact with others. If you were uncomfortable with how I behaved, this apology is for you as well. No matter my intentions, I'm sorry the impact was harmful. I will not reach out to you myself again. I would like to briefly clear up speculation about my relationship. I love my girlfriend. She was aware that this conversation took place, consented to it. It crossed no lines between us at the start of our relationship, and we are still together. I trust her to tell me if I do something to upset her. I wish to take this space to thank her for being with me through this, and apologize for the immense amount of stress my situation has caused her, because that hasn't been fair to her. Separately from above, I also want to touch on online discussion about other previous comments I've made about shoes over the years. Fitness and footwear are among my hobbies, and not strictly fueled by anything more. I can get passionate about my interests, and I now understand how this can come across, and how it could negatively affect others. One last time, I recognize I have hurt people, and needed to be held accountable for it. I respect anyone who feels disappointed or hurt. I decided around the time of the incident that I would never do this again, and learn from it, but I would understand if you didn't wish to support me any longer." Shay responds to Chugga by saying, "I greatly appreciate the transparency and honesty in this response, and professionalism in asking nobody contacts Emily further. I hope you were able to move forward and improve from the mistakes you've made." Mac Hodjon says, "Best response I have ever read from a YouTuber. Not only did you treat her with compassion, but you talked about how you went to therapy, which is huge for your own self-growth. Proud of you, man." Cookie Jar says, "The way I'm interpreting this is, I fucked up. I don't care what my intentions were. I fucked up. No one has to forgive me, and that's okay." That is such a mature response. Honestly, probably the single best way to respond here. Well done, and I stand by you. Galva Art Time says, "You apologized and made a great response. Apologizing in private, going to therapy for it. I just have a question. Why was this brought up for the public to see when this was handled privately already? It just rubs me the wrong way since you handled it was handled in private." Stake Driven responds to Chugga by saying, "You guys hashed this out in private and she still decided to try and cancel you? I'm amazed at your patience and grace here. You are a more saintly man than I could ever hope to be. Hats off to you, with sincerity." The Astral Alchemist quote tweets Chugga and says, "Hashtag we are with Chuggaaconroy. What a kind man. Not asking anyone to attack her, apologizing, improving himself. This has gone too far and is stupid. We are with and supporting you, Emil. You did your best and she betrayed you. You are not a bad person. Don't ever think you are." Sandrew Y says, "So Chugga and Emily resolved the issue months ago in private, yet Emily suddenly decided to walk it back after seeing people make positive comments about him on Reddit. I'm disgusted. Turns out the issue here wasn't even poor communication. It came down to Emily being spiteful. Lecter in the Light right says, what we learned. 1. Emil's hyperfixation on shoes is indeed not sexual. 2. Emil is seeking therapy. 3. Emil's girlfriend consented to the exchange. 4. This was all handled in private already, and Emily put Emil on blast. Hashtag Chugga forever. Hashtag we are with Chuggaaconroy. Aaron says, checks out, I wish people wouldn't use this to attack Emily, as Chugga explicitly states not to do that. Zachary Landrum says, I'm glad Chugga was so mature about this, but he should have realized what he was doing was weird long before now. But Emily is also guilty for essentially being petty by stirring up the drama when it was resolved months ago. It honestly feels like clout chasing on her part. My final verdict. Both sides are guilty and both should be held accountable for their actions. No one is innocent in this scenario. Call it a cop-out answer if you want, I honestly don't care. I'm just glad this drama is over, because it was honestly so stupid to begin with. That being said, I'm still going to continue watching Chugga's videos, because of the pure passion he puts into his videos. And with him branching out to do more than Let's Plays on his channel, I'd say he still has a bright YouTube career ahead. Now, before Emil released his full response, but after my last video on this topic, due to people having questions about Emily's initial claim against Chuggaaconroy, she decided to clear some things up in this tweet where she says, I've been seeing some confusion about the timeline of events, so here's some more stuff in chronological order, showcasing more of just how out of nowhere some of these transitions were, and how pushy it started to feel, where it was hard to do anything but just try to move on. She then shares the full timeline of DMs that we read snippets of in the previous parts, but for clarity's sake, I am going to go over some of those messages again now with the new context of having the messages in the proper sequential order, but I will be skipping some of the general gaming talk as it's not directly relevant to the situation other than the abrupt change from gaming to talking about feet. And lastly, I apologize for the weird cropping in some of these messages. She showed full desktop Discord screenshots, which makes it harder to read, so I had to edit around some things to make it more readable, but rest assured, this is all accurate. And it starts out with Emily on the 10th of September 2023 saying to Chugga, true. Though also something I think is fun is that anybody can choose their name for whatever reason. I have cis friends who change their names just because they feel like another name suits them better. Chugga responds, I suppose you wouldn't need a reason to do it, yes? I don't know if you've been hurting aside from being sick. I just kind of get that vibe from your tweets lately, but I was building to something earlier when you left. You were smart, you were capable, and you bring entertainment to many people. I think you are a beautiful person, and I want you to believe that too. Days can't help, but get better if we will it to happen. Emily responds, oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. It's hard to feel 100% all the time, but I'm trying. Being sick always makes me such a doomer, lol. Chugga responds, it's natural that you don't. Your best one day is not your best every day, and that is okay. She responds, it is. I just have to weather through it. Get all my ducks in a row. Chugga responds, ha ha ha, yep. Now in return, I'm going to need something from you. She responds, what's that? And then Chugga says, I think you know. She responds, play Xenoblade 3? Chugga responds, not quite, smirks. Cartoonishly attacks you as you sit there and try to remove your shoes. Almost got them. These next set of messages are from September 13th, 2023, and it starts out with Emily just talking about video games. Chugga saying, if you have any questions, I'm here. Emily saying thank you, and then Chuggaaconroy saying, okay, I'm going to miss your shoes. It was kind of nice being their caretaker again. Looks at them in my hands. As hard as it was at times, they stunk horribly. She responds, oh yeah, sorry about that. It is what it is. Chugga responds, man, big and stinky? You've got it all. She responds, I know. And then he says, aw, ha 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 ha. Girl's embarrassed. She responds, it is what it is. I have to live with how I am. Chugga responds, that's sweet. Twirls your shoes around by laces for about 2 seconds and abruptly throws them right at you. Here, catch. They hit you so hard you fall over backwards in your chair. Drat! But just know I'll never unsee, or unsmell for that matter. You'll have to be good to me and help me out when I need it, or I'll tell people. You hear me? She responds, I hear. Don't worry, I'll be good. Chugga responds, good. Honks the rubber toe of your shoe. We wouldn't want anything to happen to you. Hey, sorry, are you free to talk? You are not doing something else? She responds, oh, sorry, I'm trying to do my homework for D&D, lol. Chugga responds, oh, okay, I just wanted to talk about something. So like, I'll continue this joke with you if you want. It just sort of happened. I got the vibe you were enjoying it if you were playing along, and I like doing this sort of thing. So I feel like we are on the same page there. But I guess due to just how it could be seen in hindsight, I want to tell you this was just a game. She responds, oh yeah, I know. Absolutely, I don't mind. Chugga responds, okay, I'm glad you feel the same. It's just, a lot of people are into that. She responds, oh yeah, lol, but all good. All in good fun. This next message is a longer one, so I just just put a vertical version of it on screen, but Chugga responds by saying, yeah, being forward with you because I'd rather not keep anything from you and let you make the best decision for you. I am into that, but only with my significant other. I just also like talking about shoes with people because it's also an interest. I talked with my significant other about this when we started dating, and she told me I can talk about shoes with other people because it isn't sexual with my friends. It's just something I enjoy talking about with my friends too. I know that might be a lot to share, and I'm sorry if it is, but I feel it's best to just be open with people and consider what I'd like to know if I was in their position. She responds, no, I'm glad to know. Good to have that openness and common understanding. Chugga responds, thank you. That's very kind of you to see it that way. I'm always about communication, even if it's about complicated stuff, because why would you not tell your friends important things if you want to keep them in your life? A lot of people are not so kind about this sort of thing on the internet. Haha, sorry to ping you again. I won't be up too much longer and wanted to finish talking. She then shows more DMs from the 14th of September where she says, and yeah, they are based on a template, but I did modify things like giving the rainbow bottom and using white laces. Chugga responds, I guess I just want to say I won't ever turn on you for merely being who you are. You are safe here with me. I was gonna say that earlier when I called you a woman and not a trans woman. I can't fully understand your struggles, but I am happy to learn and be an ear should you ever need one. I'm sure you could teach me much about life. She responds, I appreciate that. It's interesting and hard sometimes, but it's nice. And most times I don't even think about being trans. Chugga responds, ha, that's a sign you are succeeding at being you. She responds, yeah, I'm winning at woman. Chugga responds, yep. After a moment of smells and good feels, you come back down to earth and realize you are still down on the earth. Now, you put your shoes back the fuck on already! You are burning my eyes looking like that! Emily then continues her thread by saying, also just want to say at the time of all of this, I was horribly sick with the flu, and had lost my voice for several weeks, and was basically miserable and barely there. So most of the time I'm struggling just to stay awake, let alone try to respond to all of this. These next messages are from the 15th of September, and it starts out with Chuggaaconroy talking about how he misses the PS2 era of gaming, Emily responding saying she missed playing a lot of Wii games, and then Chuggaaconroy responding, surprising! I felt like everyone had one, usually alongside one of the other two. So like, I feel for you. I really do. But if you were still coughing and sick, what do you need shoes for? Emily continues her thread by saying, here's another example of me starting to get uncomfortable and not responding, and trying to change the convo. As someone in treatment for anxiety and depression, it's often hard to tell people to their face when they are making me uncomfortable. I wasn't quite sure what else to do. She then shows messages from the 15th of September that start with Chugga saying, and run outside after me like that? She responds, I can hop. And then Chugga replies, you look around me, making sure you know which way to hop before expending the energy. You see me a ways away near my neighbor's house, where a loud party's going on their front lawn. Oh no, I'm looking at you, and holding your shoes over a sewer drain. 30 minutes later, he then says, thought you'd have a bigger reaction, ha ha ha. Another 30 minutes, he says, you still there? 14 minutes later, he says, would like to finish this. I'll still be up for a bit, but I won't keep pinging if I don't hear back after this one, and just assume you were busy. The next day at 11 a.m., he says, hello, ha ha ha. You fell asleep. Then at 7 p.m. he says, hello again. And at 8 p.m. he says, I kinda just want to know how you are doing. Emily continues her thread by saying, going back in time here a bit, sorry, but because I'm seeing confusion, I didn't know he was into shoes like that when I accepted and got the gift, nor had no reason to suspect it. I got suspicious when he asked for pics, but gave the benefit of the doubt and then, well, the rest. And to remind you, Chugga told Emily that he was into shoes sexually on the 13th of September, and these DMs about sending her shoes as a gift are from the 7th of June, a couple months prior. These messages start out with Chugga saying, not to brag, but I think I'm gonna beat that old birthday present you told me about. Emily responds, lol, I'm so excited to see what it is. Then a couple days later she says, I think your gift came in. Chugga responds, oh yeah? It said Wednesday. Well, did it? She responds, I believe so. Sorry, I was in D&D. She then shows a picture of the shoes Chugga bought her. There's some redacted messages, and then Chugga saying, and beautiful. So, I originally planned to go with black with a floral pattern, but they lacked it in your size. So I went with what I thought would most likely go with any clothes. She responds, oh, honestly, great call, because I love black high tops, but haven't had any in years and years. Chugga responds, ha ha ha, it's my personal favorite shoe. Emily responds, it's a great shoe, goes with everything. Chugga then says, do I get to see you in them? She responds, oh yeah, I'll get a photo once I have a chance to put them on. Still doing D&D right now, lol. She then sends the picture of her in the shoes and says, sorry, it's not the best photo, but here, they fit great. Chugga responds, oh shit, I came back from watching TV to this. I'm glad they fit. They suit you. And if I may say, you look gorgeous. Emily then ends off this thread by saying, the red section is covered up because it involves Emile complaining about a previous relationship with another person, and I don't want to post any information about that since said person isn't public about things. Hope y'all understand. Gonna Guide responds to Emily by saying, you literally said you don't mind. You said it was fine. You never told him that you didn't like what he was doing. He gave you various different opportunities to tell him you were interested in this, but you said it was fine. Why play this now? Why all this now? Valium references the DM of Chugga asking Emily if she's okay with shoe talk and captions it by saying, maybe I misunderstand, but isn't this consent? Melf Quiz responds to Emily by saying, it kills me, because I could see why it would be difficult to call things out at first. He seemed nice, if a bit awkward, and then it just gets uncomfortable. Dilwyn Flogger responds to Emily by saying, man tells you, I have a big obsession with feet. I talk about them all the time. It's not sexual with my friends. You? Surprised Pikachu face when his messages show him being obsessed with feet. I don't even get why you are releasing these DMs. Grow up, please. Sumari says, it's pretty maddening seeing the hoops people jump through at all times to make you the bad guy in all this. The accusations of ableism, clout chasing, etc., when everything is right there for them to see. When he literally said he overstepped boundaries. XD Symphony says, not saying what Chugga was right, but the screenshots with your responses seem to be giving the opposite effect of what you intended. It is definitely reading misunderstanding more than before. The Humble Fellow shows the DM of Chugga asking if she's okay with the feet talk and captions it by saying, I'm gonna throw my take into this. Emil tends to not be very good at picking up social cues, and since you yourself already consented to this bit, he thought it was fine to run with it. Sarah says, I hope this changes people's tunes, but I kinda suspect that anyone who is minimizing your concerns is beyond reaching. Mercy Magic says, anyone who posts in that weird, I'm writing a screenplay and dictating your behavior style is a certified giga freak. Jenny Nicholson quote tweets Emily's thread and says, average guy on Twitter, my favorite YouTuber was not being creepy in DMs. I don't think he meant anything by this. The DMs in question, I steal your shoes, hee hee hee. I push you down and you're so embarrassed, but you can't stop me from seeing and smelling your bare stinky feet. Morgan Leggett responds, I don't know either of these people. Yes, he has an odd kink, but whatever floats your boat. He checks with her that it's okay twice, and she says it is. What's the problem? If it goes too far, say something. Don't affirm, accept gifts, and then try to cancel someone for a kink. Jenny responds, he asked if it was okay while repeatedly lying and saying it wasn't sexual, setting her up to be the rude/uptight one if she asked him to stop. This is the oldest trick in the book, bro. Haven't you ever rejected anyone romantically before? Giuliano responds, who cares if she comes off as rude? If I'm uncomfortable, I'm telling the person that I'm uncomfortable, regardless if it's a joke or not. Jenny responds, you were asking who cares if she comes off as rude to a colleague with more clout and more connections and a bigger platform in her same field? Nora responds to Jenny by saying, the sheer audacity of his fans saying that he has a foot fetish and the conversation is about shoes, not feet, therefore it's not sexual, is infuriating. Jay says, gotta love how his fans' greatest talking point is how he's an autistic man. Boo-hoo! He didn't know right from wrong. He's a little baby boy. He did a social blunder. But Emily, an autistic woman, can do no social blunder. Her actions are her own and only malicious. Orzorn says, it's crazy to me how many mostly male tweeters under the YouTuber's posts are assuring him that he has done nothing wrong, calling him king or that it's somehow Emily's fault. Every time this happens, it feels like we learned nothing from the last infinity times this happened. Billy shows one of Chuggaaconroy's weird roleplay messages to Emily and says, what do you mean? This is the behavior of a normal, well-adjusted man who knows how to get proper consent and can engage with his sexuality in a responsible and healthy manner. Me having this opinion is not reflective of my own social skills at all in any way. Grant W says, a big part for me, if it was mutual roleplay/flirting, it'd be fine. But it's him very much strong-arming it and making long posts to get his jollies. Worse, he thinks he's owed this from her after making fair-weather attempts at supporting her on her life challenges. Shannon says, people love to invent an alternate reality to exist in, when the real world is painful. An alternate universe where DMing a woman 20 times about her feet is her fault, and not creepy at all. Blue Eyes Robot says, yes, that's classic grooming. Push the boundaries, but it's a joke. Chud Logic reacts to Emily's post by saying, absolutely insane that this interaction was framed as sexual harassment. Obviously, the dude was pushy with the weirdo foot fetish stuff, but he asked directly a number of times and you said it was fine. You told him at the time or after that you had a problem. This could have been handled privately, but apparently you have such crippling anxiety that you couldn't confront him or even say anything to clearly indicate you were uncomfortable. Yet you are happy to make a serious public allegation? Totally incoherent. It's obvious you saw some positive comments about him and made an allegation in a spite-driven frustration. The only victim here is Chuggaaconroy, who has to endure the shame and embarrassment of his private DMs revealed publicly for no good reason. Ken Drillin64 reacts to Emily by saying, read the messages. While Chugga jumped the gun with the RP, he explicitly states that he'll quit if she's uncomfortable. His partner is okay with it because talking about feet/shoes isn't sexual with friends, so not cheating. He's nervous about talking about it because he'll be judged. Wow. I was 95% on your side when this started, but this could have been resolved by just telling him no, especially since he can't see how you really feel through texts. Autism isn't an excuse, but you had the capability to tell him to stop as the neurotypical adult in the room. So after all of that discussion, Emily responded to Emil's new statement by saying, "While I have seen Emil's apology and I hope he genuinely means to better himself, knowing his history of doing this to others, how long he's been doing this to others, and his private behavior since he did this to me, I personally do not accept the apology, nor do I believe it. This will be my response on the matter. If you want to stand by him, stand by him. But I know how he treats others. I know how I was treated. And I stand by letting people know about it so that nobody else has to deal with what I had to deal with. I'm sorry to others he has hurt. I hope you are doing better now, and I hope he's been respecting your boundaries. And Emil, sincerely, with all my heart, be better. You've been treating people like this for over a decade now. You can't keep doing this. Improve, grow, change. And no, Emil, we didn't have a convo where we settled this privately. I had to have one of your friends talk to you because you kept bothering me and spreading personal info about me to the point where I didn't feel safe, and said friend had to tell you to leave me alone." Nicholas Light TV responds to Emily by saying she's the most insufferable person on the internet right now, and Jesse Gender shows this and says, "Absolutely go fuck yourself. Not only has Emil admitted fault, but it's up to the victims to accept an apology or no," which Lady Emily doesn't, as is her right. To call someone calling out abuse insufferable is victim blaming that enables harm to continue in silence. EI responds to the last tweet of Emily's thread, responding to Chuggaaconroy by saying, "Knowing Chuggaaconroy lied about something this important is more uncomfortable than I can express. Please believe and support the victims. I don't think there's any possible justification left for him after Emily and Masae's statements today." Now the question here for those of you not familiar with this community is, who is Masae? Well, she's someone who has been a close collaborator and friend of Chuggaaconroy for most of the last decade, with them appearing in tons of videos together, and even living so close together that they were hanging out all the time, to the point where most fans thought they were in a relationship despite them never dating. But the main reason people thought they were dating was the comments that Emil made to Masae in videos of them together. And these moments of Masae and Chugga over the years is why this Twitter thread by MasaeAnela about Chuggaaconroy holds so much weight to a lot of people. In it she says, "After the number of people who have inquired about Chuggaaconroy over MagFest, I feel I need to make this clear. I have not associated with Emil for years, nor are we friends. Any cameo Splatoon 2 recorded long before our falling out, or interaction/mention, Coliseum Twitch chat, was posted and done without my consent after I made it clear that I did not want to be associated. I am uncomfortable with the way he has talked to/about me in the past, which has been a huge point of distress. Combined with the way he's spoken to/about others, particularly women, in private and public, it is concerning, and I don't want to associate with that behavior. Emil has historically been one to push boundaries, and being faced with a following as large as his is absolutely harrowing. Even establishing my own personal boundaries carries an inherent risk. For a long time, not rocking the boat felt like the safer option. I have seen recent posts in his apology. I've privately received several from him over the years. They have rung hollow with his actions. I am tired of hearing it, have no more chances to give, and I'm exhausted from pretending/politely dodging topics when he is brought up. For my own comfort and safety, I will not be attending events that he will be at unless it's a public space, where I'm able to avoid him, large-scale conventions. I have not seen him in years, and I have no intention to start again now. To those who have unknowingly asked me questions about him, either at MagFest, in private, or in chat/comments, I hold absolutely no ill will, and I do not fault you. But moving forward, I will not be reciprocating discussion about Emil further, in any capacity. This is my personal line in the sand, made because I no longer want to quietly tolerate people speaking for me, assuming the worst things, or incorrectly associating us as friends/collaborators. To those who have been hurt, I empathize with you and wish you all strength." Sinnoh Shroob responds to Masae with this clip of them playing Mario 3D World together and says, "That explains this."
Goes like, okay, it's good.
I'm looking up Masae's dress.
What? Why are you here at the recording with a dress on? That's really weird.
Well, she had to really get into the character.
The character of a girl.
Wow.
Well, she's got
Yay.
You
Go
seem
on.
so enthused.
Go on.
Please do continue.
I'm very curious what you're about to
She's
say.
got to get into the character of being blonde.
Emil.
Oh.
Are we really
What is
going
Luigi doing?
Are we really going
just
there
warming
right
up.
now?
HP responds to this by saying, honestly, the fact that it's so open and blatant in numerous videos like this at least tells me it was much more cluelessness than maliciousness. Not that it's an excuse, and I seriously hope the help he's getting now will help inform him how to act appropriately around people. Margot says, I feel sick. He's been doing this for years now, like he would just openly call things she said/did cute, and she would be embarrassed about it. As an outsider, it seemed like playful banter between two very close friends, but now, God, I'm so disgusted. Mutactic responds with this clip of Masae playing Mario Party with Chugga and captions it by saying, this also stuck out in my mind.
Too late.
My rage is making me heated. I should take off my jacket. No, Emil!
I'm sorry.
No! Do not!
I am
Do not!
so sorry.
Do not want! I will kick you out of—
Lucajin, who is very close to this friend group, and the wife of Proton John, who consistently makes videos with Chuggaaconroy on their channel, The Runaway Guys, responded to Masae in support by saying, you were so independent and strong, but I wanted to say how proud I am of you. I know this wasn't easy, and I want you to know I'm always here, in any way that you need me. Dennis responds to Masae by saying, this changes a lot. I have so much to think about now, and I fear for the future. But most of all, I want nothing more than your happiness and comfort, and I'm glad you are finding that. I'm sorry you were led to feel this way, and fully support you in speaking out. Roboverse shows this comment from the Mario 3D World Let's Play that Chugga did with Masae that says, in this episode, Emil proves he just can't talk to girls. And Roboverse captions this by saying, I think this basically sums up the whole situation. Max Allen says, this literally made my blood run cold. I had no idea it was this bad, or had been going on for so long. From an outside perspective, seeing things like Twitch streams and Coliseum, everything seemed fine. I'm still processing it, but I'm sorry for everything you've had to deal with. Carrie Kelly says, you were one of the first people I thought of when seeing his name be a part of controversy, because I always felt how weird he was around and about you. Good for you, honestly. I'm glad you got away from that. Miss Fuzi says, I'm proud of you, Masae. I have your back. She also quote tweets Masae and says, I support her 100%. Chuggaaconroy has made me uncomfortable on many occasions. I am not okay with him contacting me, and will not be part of any event he participates in. I was afraid about posting this publicly, but I have to share. This community has good men. He isn't one. Lady Emily responds, I love you, Fuzi. You have my support. Sunflower ASMR quote tweets Miss Fushi and says, I also had multiple uncomfortable experiences with him, and would be encouraged to enact in foot fetish roleplay when we spoke. I support these women, and am saddened this has happened to so many. Lady Emily responds, I'm sorry this has happened to you too. I hope you are doing better now, and I stick by you 100%. Lady Emily also responds directly to Masae and says, I'm so sorry for how you were treated by him, both during and after. You didn't deserve that. I hope you are doing better now, and I stand by you 100%. Thaddeus Cruz says, fuck. Chuggaaconroy is probably the creator I've been following the longest. Some of my oldest friendships, many that I still have today, were started on his Facebook wall. He's, for lack of better words, foundational for me, but his actions are plainly indefensible. It's been harder than I care to admit to make a stake in the initial claims, because I simply didn't want to believe it. Surely not him. Surely not the person who was able to give a voice for concepts and experiences that nobody else was. There must be some misunderstanding. So I held out, and wasn't raising a voice of support for a situation that obviously called for it. The rose-tinted glasses were welded on tight, tighter than I could have ever known at first. It should have never needed to get this bad, this obvious for me to see. But in no world, in no hypothetical scenario where Emil was acting with good intentions and in good faith, can one excuse keeping someone represented in your work after explicitly requesting to be excluded. There's no social ambiguity to speak of. It's calculated and malicious. This entirely validates Emily speaking out in the first place, even if this was dealt with at the time. Seeing how many people saw Emil as infallible likely made it feel like his perception was a shield with which he abused others, repeatedly. Sure enough, it was exactly that. Not to mention the fact that now his apology is no longer credible. What was initially seen as an excellent means of coming out and owning up is now lying by omission and downplaying the severity. I have to assume the same apology was used for years. I've never met the man personally, but while I may have loved the opportunity, there's not a chance in hell I'll ever associate with him in any capacity. So many people clearly hurt while his actions were never once accounted for. Over a decade of this. What a joke. Whether or not he'll change doesn't matter. This is an obscenely long track record, and a disassociation list I can't count on both hands. He isn't afforded the benefit of the doubt, nor should he be. May his recovery be away from those whom he has hurt, and could hurt, permanently. Now speaking of that disassociation list, let's go through some more people who are disassociating with Chugga after seeing MasaeAnela's thread. Brett Ultimus says, please take the time to read Masae's post about Emil, Chuggaaconroy, and how we both do not wish to discuss him in any capacity. Some thoughts below. I have had no association with him, nor do I ever want to be. If you've asked me about him being in a D&D game, he is the one person I can say with 100% certainty I would never want to have at my table. I have seen Emil's statements on the incidents Lady Emily has outlined. While I hope he follows through with what he says, I am not interested in being a part of that journey. As Masae has said, he has made apologies like this in the past, which has been hollow. If you've brought up Emil to Masae or me during MagFest, without knowing our feelings, you do not need to apologize. We were hoping to keep it private, but after everything that happened, we want it to be known we do not want him to be brought up to us anymore. That is all I personally want to discuss on the matter, and hoping we do not have to discuss this again. I stand with my partner, and all that she has said. Thank you for reading. I'm Burrito Boy quote tweets Masae and says, if someone who was at one point one of Chugga's close friends speaks up about this, you know it's fucked. I had a feeling something was up when they eventually stopped hanging around so much. In hindsight, Emil being really flirty with Masae when they were just friends was pretty cringe. I don't blame her for wanting to move on from him after having to deal with that. Masked Meta Knight 4 says, it's never been more over than now. When I was younger watching Masae and Chugga together, I always thought his crude jokes towards her were a bit at best, due to how close they were with collabs, TRG, and on Steven Vlog. In hindsight, this is truly awful. AntDude quote tweets Masae and says, gonna echo this briefly. Emil and I were friends in the past, like way longer than many would believe, but many actions over the last few years have created quite a considerable wedge. From my perspective, he is not someone I'd want to be associated with going forward. Smug Ultima responds by saying, considering Emily lied about what she claimed, and did indeed give consent after claiming she never did, how they both handled it behind the scenes privately, and she released it anyways? Yeah, nah, I'm with Chugga on this. AntDude responds, this isn't really related to Emily, it's about Masae, and me saying, yeah, he's been not great to me too. AntDude then adds to his original quote tweet by saying, the long and short of it was Emil occasionally tried to get closer with me only once he started also sending off-putting texts to my girlfriend, who he knew I was with. No, this isn't related to Emily. My distaste for him is purely personal, and I merely wanted to amplify Masae's message. Believe it or not, but I actually hate internet drama. I just want to talk about video games. Mechatunkus quote tweets AntDude and says, for those who never saw Chugga's 10th anniversary retrospective, AntDude was one of the people that convinced Chugga to stick with Let's Playing when he considered quitting early on. So yeah, they've been friends for a long time. Megatunkus then quote tweets Masae and says, I had figured there was some kind of falling out, given Chugga didn't use Masae as an artist in Black and White 2, after he was her go-to since Emerald. In his sight, the signs of discomfort were always there, particularly in the 3D World playthrough. It's just so disappointing. Dread Fury says, Chuggaaconroy being outed as a creep towards women and a generally bad person wasn't on my 2024 bingo card. The stuff with Emily was weird, but I was willing to give Chugga/Emil the benefit of the doubt. But the stuff with Masae? Yeah, no. That's just shitty and heartbreaking. Just to clarify before anyone takes this the wrong way, I specifically mean Emily's original stuff in this context, not what she posted more recently. Zachary Landrum, someone who defended Chuggaaconroy at the beginning of this video, quote tweeted himself and says, I officially disavow everything I said in this thread, because after what MasaeAnela and AntDude posted earlier today, Chugga is now 100% guilty. Unless Emil actually follows through with this promise, I'm not supporting him anymore, which honestly does hurt me to do. Tama says, although it disappoints me to hear that a former collaborator and someone I'd considered a friend has done harm, I believe and support those who are speaking up about Emil's inappropriate behavior. I'm speaking up so that my silence is not mistaken for an endorsement of someone who I have had on my channel in the past. I condemn the bravery of those who have come forward and wish them the best. I also hope Emil can learn from this and work on his issues with boundaries. Mechatunkus responds, out of curiosity, do you remember anything of the episode of the Pokemon Platinum playthrough you guest starred in? You seemed pretty low energy and melancholy in it. Was this just your Sinnoh apathy, or was he acting weird behind the scenes? Tama responds, I have not personally experienced this behavior, but I do believe that others have. He has been nothing but kind and respectful to me, which is why it has been so disappointing to find out about it. Laughing Boy LP says, as of last night, I have officially removed all videos from my channel featuring Chuggaaconroy. While I understand they were the reason many of you subscribed to my channel, the videos no longer bring me any joy to keep available. I wish Chugga well on his journey of self-improvement, and I ask ask any of you reading this to please respect and support those who have asked for their privacy. Thank you. Xavier quote tweets Masae and says, honestly, this thread is the last straw on the whole Emil Chuggaaconroy situation. Masae is one of the few people I believe was actually harassed as evidenced in the videos they made together. I always thought it was a bit, or played up for the camera, but just reading all this destroyed me. Every joke, every comment Emil made about her, it all just fell into place in the most terrible way imaginable. I feel so bad for anyone affected by his behavior, and I feel so ashamed to have ever supported Emil. I feel like a huge part of me has been ripped and violated. If I could tell 8-year-old me to never watch that one Super Mario Sunshine video, I would. This is something I never wanted to experience, and honestly, just feels like a nightmare and I need to wake up, but this is all too real. This really went from a communication issue to something far worse. Why did I ever support this guy? He was someone I looked up to, someone I wanted to be, but now I know that I'm never gonna be like him. I'll simply be better. I'm gonna still enjoy my favorite hobby no matter how tainted it may be by this. I wanted to believe in you, Emil. I really did, but you've proven you're not gonna change. As someone who has literally watched every single video of yours, I'll say this. You are still the dumb angry kid you see in Sunshine. You've just learned to hide it better. To add on to this, Emil was also the reason I love puns as much as I do to this day. Now they feel ruined too. This is just so much all at once. I feel dirty for being me. This is fucked up. Rabid Luigi says, all the stuff with Chuggaaconroy is both heartbreaking and exhausting. Feels like we can barely go a few months without an influential creator that's been around forever being outed as a creep. Huge respect to those affected by him for sharing their stories. Reese says, I am really disappointed in Emil. What he did was unacceptable. This really sucks since I loved his content over the years. He even helped bring attention to the Paper Mario E3 2010 search, and followed my Paper Mario beta account. You just can't really trust anyone anymore. Lucian quote tweets Masae and says, I don't want to see any of you defend Emil/Chuggaaconroy ever again. Canadian Chili says, I usually don't post important stuff on here, but I feel this is warranted. Please see my statement in regards to Chuggaaconroy and the TRG website below. Thank you. Hey everyone, after consulting with John, we both agree that temporarily bringing down the Runaway Guys website, given the current revelations that have come to light over the past week, is the correct course of action. I've been battling with conflicting emotions and feelings the past week over the situation with Emil. This is someone I have known and spoken with for over a decade, and whom I considered a friend. Despite not talking all that often, my heart goes out to everyone who has been affected by his actions and words. I commend Emily, Masae, and everyone else who have stood up and brought their stories forward, and I wish them all the best in moving forward from this. I do hope Emil can find the help and consultation he needs to help him better himself and grow from this situation. Thank you to everyone who ever visited the site, and I hope one day, when things have become better, that it can come back online. Lots of love, Ashley. And speaking of John and the Runaway Guys, they also made statements about Emil after Masae's thread came out, like NintendoCapriSun, who says, just to clear the air a little bit here, I was not aware of any of the stuff with Emil until just last week, and with more recent developments, I am shocked. I will say here and now I do not approve of his behavior, but I will say that as his friend, a friend who wants to see him overcome this, move past it, and see that it never happens again, Emil is currently getting very serious professional help as we speak. I shouldn't speak further on that matter, as it's not my story to tell. As to the state of TRG and or Coliseum, I can't make any promises one way or the other. Obviously, we got a lot of stuff to figure out. We just need time. My sympathies go out to Masae and all the others who were affected by this. Wishing you all peace, safety, and comfort in the coming weeks and beyond. And finally, we have the last member of the Runaway Guys, Proton John, who says, I hear everyone wanting me to speak about Emil. I have a lot of feelings that I'm sorting through. I'm extremely disappointed and confused on what's next. Please be patient while I process things. Just know I don't condone his actions. I'll share my thoughts when I am ready. Singh responds to him by saying, bet you didn't know about the last thing, huh? And then Proton John says, correct. And what is that last thing? Well, it's crazy. But an entire Google document that contains over 40 pages of Emil sexting a 15-year-old when he was 19 has just dropped. And oh my god, some of these messages are just absolutely insane. It starts out with them saying, Chuggaaconroy, I'm sharing the story of a close friend of mine to allow her to maintain anonymity. She feels it's relevant to share given the dynamic started when she was 15 years old and he was 19. You can read her full statement and logs here, and then they link to a Google Doc. It starts out with them saying, Hey, Lolly here. I'm nervous speaking about any of this, so please bear with me. I wish to remain anonymous as I'm not a public figure. I'm just a person trying to do the right thing, and please ask that you respect my privacy. I've known Chuggaaconroy since late 2009, and we started speaking as friends starting early 2010. We started talking because of a cringe video I made doing voice lines for Gygus. Gygus, for those of you who don't know, is the final boss in the Super Nintendo game Earthbound. Continuing on, she says, I was so excited to meet and talk to my hero at the time. I didn't have many friends, so it felt extra special to have someone as important as him show interest in speaking with me. At the time, Chugga, Emil, used AIM, AOL Instant Messenger, and I had a potato PC that couldn't run it. So I used this thing called Meebo, which let me use AIM in a browser to speak with him. I saved the logs in a message to myself on Gaia Online because of how precious they were to me at the time. I haven't used the site in years, but the recent allegations against Chugga made me really start to think and question our friendship. I dug up everything and started to read through all of the old messages between us, and it's bad. Beyond the 2010 era cringe, he said things to me while I was underage are not okay. It never occurred to me when I was younger how bad the situation was. At the time, I was so excited my hero was talking to me and showing interest in me. For years, I was friends with him and never really thought about how bad the situation actually was. I'm still coming to terms with all of it, and to be honest, I'm not really sure how I should feel. I know it's not right though. Speaking that way to a minor is unacceptable, and I worry if anyone else has been affected, and also might be too afraid to speak out. I understand that people may be skeptical of claims like this. I'm sure if he's your hero too, you wouldn't want to believe any of this. Outwardly, he's a very kind guy. I still struggle with feeling as though I betrayed a friend, but given everything, I'm not sure he ever truly saw me as a friend to begin with. I've documented all of the logs I have, and the only things I've redacted are things that are very personal for myself and Emil, family stuff, locations, etc. I've screenshotted all of this information with Worcester, which is the friend who posted this for her. So if the logs and screenshots are sketchy to you, I can promise you they've been seen in real time by somebody else whose identity isn't unknown. It's real, I promise you, it's all sadly real. And a footnote for all of those that plan to read the logs, please do so with your own discretion, as a lot of language that I and Emil used is dated and extremely unacceptable to say. 2010 times were really something different and caused me physical pain to read over. Below is the screen caps I took from Gaia to show a timestamp as I just sent messages to myself with the logs. I would have taken screen caps of the whole thing, but for two reasons I didn't. Gaia's webpage layout is absolute dog, and for whatever reason, cut off sections of the messages. 2, it would have been harder to block my username / sensitive information. Then we have the inbox with the saved messages for proof. Another convo with Chugga. Convo with Chugga, convos with Chugga, and they're all from like 2010. Down here, Gaia's online webpage layout massacring my ability to take a screenshot. Screen caps from the messages themselves when the message itself was smaller. So this is just more of them proving it. There's like a whole transcript that we're gonna read out, but you can see a little sneak peek here. Proof of her having contact with Emil, leaving a comment on the video she mentioned at the beginning 14 years ago. Above is proof that I still talk to and maintain contact with Emil long after these logs. So these are from 2021. It starts out with her saying, I literally never knew about Footmans. Chugga responds, ha 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 ha. I also didn't know it was a thing. They respond, like, I look at a foot and like, it's a foot, a proto hand. Chugga responds, well, I recall yours had something awfully unusual about them. Did they really? Have you been in those shoes undisturbed for 12 years? Referring to the, older conversation from 2010. I'm not sure I can picture what it was. I'm saving them for marriage. Guess I shouldn't joke about it if you don't like the idea of this, but would you want to do that again? Do what? Do what we used to. One more time. What did we do? I am forgetting something, or are you bullying me again? Cries. I mean that shoe thing we did as teenagers. And below is proof of old times roleplay stuff that continued. It was admittedly strange, but it was transactional. So I went through with it, even if it made me uncomfortable, but I didn't want to kink shame. To be clear, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with a grown adult doing consensual roleplay with another consenting adult. However, I'm trying to outline that this kink of his is the same thing he did with me while I was 15. There are many more logs of roleplay stuff, but I don't think it's relevant to the point I'm making. So this is them still talking in 2022, the beginning of 2022. She says, wait, between what? Chugga responds, something simple, with just our two characters, or something more grandiose with more of a story. She responds, I'd be fine with either, to be honest. Do you have a preference? Chugga says, I think the second one would be more preferred, but I don't want to overwhelm you. It is kind of spicy. She responds, a story like that could be fun. And then Chugga says, alright, I guess. I'll still be a few minutes. We're finishing up a show. Take your time. I forgot I promised a friend I'd play a round or two of League anyways. Chugga responds, okay, see you soon. He then later says, ready. We were at the same kind of party together as friends, when suddenly we're driven out of the house, and the other party guests are chasing us like some angry mob. They're shouting when they chase us. They're going to do terrible things. I shout as I run alongside you. Gah! What did you even do to piss them off this badly? She responds, I shrug shoulders awkwardly as I try to keep up with you. Trade secret, don't worry about it. A smug grin crosses my face as I recall the horrors that may or may not have been unleashed on an unsuspecting crowd. The guard holding his nose replies, it seems to detect toxic chemicals on you, but it couldn't be, could it? People in line are shoving their way forward to the front. The people in the back, hearing the commotion, want a view of what's ever going on. Holy fuck, what? Ho ho ho, what a show! Damn, does it hurt to have such enormous feet? A small child shouts at you, hey lady, can I touch them for $5? The crowd of people laugh. The shame is unbearable, unimaginable, undescribable. All of the stuff I've saved from these logs below is dated in 2010. It's the text format of the logs I saved on Gaia, far before anyone to my knowledge knew about his foot stuff. I hope that proves that it's truly him I was talking to and not a fake. And the fact I kept contact with him long after the fact, and he references back to it as a fond memory for him, I understand the nature of this is all hard to believe, and I've tried my best to compile of what I had. Thank you for hearing me out. And now we get into the log, but this is from January 21st, 2010. Chuggaaconroy says 2 hours later. Lolly says, oh shit! Chugga says, ha 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 ha. People always get so surprised when I ask them to talk, or even that I reply to their messages at all. Lolly responds, it's only to be expected, no? Chugga responds, ha 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 ha. Well, I read every message that's ever sent to me, read every reply I get on Twitter, and read every comment I get on Facebook. And I make sure to reply to the less stupid ones. She responds, psst, XD. That makes me feel somewhat better about myself, but heck, that's gotta be a lot of people. So to give context, right, Chuggaaconroy at this time was not a small YouTuber. Like, he has 1 million subs now, but he didn't gain that recently. He actually gained that years and years and years ago. If we go to his channel, Chuggaaconroy, right, and we go to his most popular videos, they're from 14 years ago. Like, he was the biggest Nintendo YouTuber on the platform at the time. 8 million views. 8 million views is a lot today, but 8 million views from YouTube's user base from 14 years ago. YouTube had significantly less overall viewers on the platform 14 years ago. He was huge. Everybody knew him, basically, to give context. So, basically, like, this is like talking to, PewDiePie or MatPat or, Jacksepticeye now, you know? That's kind of the equivalent here. Just to give an idea. Oh well, that's nice if you feel better. And yeah, lately my mail has slowed down to about 110 messages per day. Used to be 250 a day when I was doing Pokemon and Mario Sunshine. Ah, it's still insane. Hahaha, yeah, it's pretty insane still. It's just that making a Twitter and a Facebook really lightened the load of mail on YouTube back when there was mail on YouTube. So enough about me and my e-peen. I see you are the endangered species that is the Mother fan. Now, Mother is the Japanese name of the Earthbound series that we were talking about earlier, you know, with Gygas and stuff like that. She responds, I'm a total Mother fan. Hahaha, if only we all were. Mother 1 is one of my favorite NES games out there. Mother 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. And Mother 3, while still a good game, I was disappointed with it after 12 years of development. But then again, they could have released the best game ever, and it still would have been probably disappointing no matter what if you knew 12 years of work went into it. Poofed. I didn't know the wait was so long. I only got into Mother after first learning about it. Through you, of course. Ha 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 ha. That's pretty cool if I got you into it because of that. You're one of the lucky ones. Us that were Mother fans since the 90s and early 2000s weren't so lucky. Mother was originally an N64 game that got delayed over and over and over for more than 2 years, until it was going to come out after the GameCube. Because of this, Nintendo canceled it, and we thought the cliffhanger end at Mother 2 would remain forever so. About 2 years later, Miyamoto casually asked Itoi, Mother series creator, if the team could do Mother 3 on the Game Boy Advance, since most of the delays of the original attempt at making Mother 3 were because they didn't know 3D very well. While it was asked casually, it turned into an actual project rather fast, and thus, Mother 3 was born after 12 years. Lolly responds, I read something about that, so that's what happened. Oh my. Chugga responds, yeah, it was quite the development hell. Lolly responds, seems that way. Chugga says, I'm honestly surprised that Nintendo hasn't tried to whore out the series because of all the big names that went into it. So yeah, this is what she was talking about with When He Ten Speak. I rape my songs apparently. So yeah, XD. Chuggaaconroy in all caps. I'm going to rape you. Sorry, cat guy quotes. Poofed. Would it really be rape now? Rape is unwilling. Sorry, me being a retard. Haha, it's cool. He says, not as bad as the 12 to 14-year-old girls who write me telling me of their massive crushes on me, which is hilarious because they don't even know what I look like. Lolly responds, it's totally impossible to be in love without knowing what someone looks like, spends too much time on online sites, and Lee question, yes? Just how old do you think I am? 18? Lolly responds, I'm flattered. Really? I'm only 15, turning 16 this year. XD. Oh, Jesus. What? And then this is supposed to be like a face where it's like, you know, the D is the mouth open and then the lines is like, what? Like, what? Why does everyone always think significantly higher or lower? Chugga responds, whenever I meet people, if I see what I look like, they think I'm only 16. If they just hear my voice online, they think I'm in my mid-20s. I'm really 19. She responds, works out in the middle. I'm not sure what people think of my appearance. I've been said to look old and young. And well, you heard my voice, XD. Creepy demonic voice. I'm not that scary, or am I? Dramatic background music. And with that, as a random subject change, I'm now done with episode 43. Yay, no more Earth Temple editing. So, you just watch for my sexy voice? Ha 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 ha. Oh, pfft. Kind of. In the Japanese version, when you call your mom when homesick, Ness's mom says, so, did you call to hear my sexy voice? Just kidding. Bah! I read on Earthbound Central all the differences between Mother 2 and Earthbound. I suppose I don't remember these things very well. There used to be a different site for these differences. Read it many times as a kid. Oh, really? Well, you're not that much older than me. I feel so old. Especially considering more than half my fan base is in the 12 to 17-year-old demographic. I feel so looked down upon. I generally don't judge by age or don't try to. Just because I'm physically young doesn't mean I'm mentally young too. You're not lesser, just younger, which I wish I was, ha ha ha. Why is that? Oh, just the older you get, the faster time goes. It's already too fast, and I have way long to go. I can't believe I'm this forward. Chugga's like, what? And she says, meh, me just worrying about how creepy I sound. Chugga says, oh, don't worry about a thing. I understand your little crushy-wushy. F, get over your awesome self. I don't crush on people. I'm just awkward to talk to. Chugga responds, haha, I don't think so. Lolly responds, really? Thanks. Chugga responds, there's this girl who I think might like me, and I told her something like that last night. I swear to God. She got so risen up from her depression, ha 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 ha. Is she someone you know personally or just another fan? She started off as a fan. She's hopefully going to this thing in June. But you avoided my question. Seems like you might have the little crush here, not me. After 12 whole minutes, huh? Oh, you were talking about her, not you. I was like, yeah, I totally have a crush on someone I'm on instant messenger with for 12 minutes. Poof. Not that I'm getting self-centered to think that, and I did mean her. Or are you avoiding the question again? Ha ha ha, oh, you suck. Tempted to say also swallow. You wish you were old enough for this. Tuh, nah. Sure you do. Nope. And besides, I don't look at age. If I like someone, age does not matter to me. Someone's into older men. Well, yeah, not you. Jeez, get over your awesome self. Ha ha ha. Sure. I like someone else. Thank you. Yeah, your little doll of me. Pfft. Oh, for the love of facepalm times. a million. Oh, for the love of... Nah, you knew how I'd end that sentence. Nod, nod, ooh. So, why must Chugga always insist on saying I like him? Because I totally do. I totally don't! As a friend, yes. But not in the other way. Nope. So punctual. Huh? Upside down pussy mouth with a dab of sweat in the wind? Sputter. Wait, what? Well, it kinda looked like that. Oh, pfft. I'll stop using my odd emotes then. That's your response to everything, isn't it? More or less. Well, I respond, but with an emote at the end. Force of habit, I suppose. Hungy gonna make me sandwich. Be right back. Doing what you do best as a woman! No sandwich for you then. Fuck! I can't help it with the emotes. And you lost the game, AFK. Back. Welcome back, stalker. Thank you, Stalk E. I wasn't typing, XD. Just going out from one of my keys. Chugga? Oh, sorry. Have you ever heard of Taudu? It's eerie. I just heard about for the first time ever like 20 minutes ago. I'm pretty epic at getting inside people's minds. So stop thinking so much about smut, XD. Lolly says, yo, yo, yo. Chugga says, haha, you gonna sing me to sleep? So I guess they're role-playing as like Jigglypuff. No, hoo-hoo. I'll use total blank out of Jigglypuff's moves. Screw this. Jigglypuff used a Master Ball. You would want to own me. Pfft. I'll call you Slave. Slave was sent to Bill's PC. Yeah, hopefully not that kind of slave. Ha ho! Pfft. You're too awesome to be that kind of slave because you probably end up D. So how's the weather? Oh God, you would like that. Oh yes. Anywho, what are you up to? Seriously, subject change here, XD. I can't control how retarded I'm acting because I've totally screwed up on pain meds. Yeah, I could tell when you said you wanted me to be your sex slave. Never said that! Huh? Did I? Hey, no mind fucks. I'm too out of it to properly defend myself. Well, I knew you wanted me, but this? Facepalm, not funny. Okay, maybe to you, the game. I think you should have given you more because you're not out of it enough to forget that. Ha ha ha, I never forget the game. I just spat out blood. Now that is true Emmoness. Nah, Emmoness would be all, well, if you drank it again, then maybe. Life is so depressing, I'm gonna sit in a corner and cut myself. Want me to? Sure! This could be fun making you do even more stuff when you're helpless. Datarapee! XD, please tell me if I'm being annoying, I can't tell. Haha, nah, you're amusing. Such a shame I'm not there in person when you're like this. It could be more fun. I look like I got punched in the face. Pics! And I talk like there's a piece of gauze stuck in my mouth. Lol! Didn't have a camera, so ha 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 ha. Not owning any kind of camera in 2010 is like not owning a refrigerator. I'm not a camera whore. I hate looking at myself. The reason I don't have cam. Ha ha ha, you look fine. Your opinion, I can't stand to look at myself. I hate myself. Ha, look! The emo is rubbing off, XD. Someone's overly self-conscious. Yes, I have a camera on my cell phone. If you need a chipmunk by any means, but it'd be a picture message. Chugga responds, haha, sure. I'll put it on Alvin's body in Photoshop. I will kill you! I hate how I look myself. I say you look fine. I guess we all hate how we look. Unless we're narcissistic. Something bastards. I actually didn't even try to spell that, XD. You think I'm more than fine? I think you look fairly attractive. Nothing to be hidden there. Chugga responds, ha ha ha, alright. If you really think so. Lolly responds, yup. I'd say grow your hair a bit more. But I'm just a weirdo who's totally cracked up on pain meds. I'm a druggie. Saw 3 is over, Jigsaw died. Oh, and more blood. Spit or swallow? Seriously. Send it back where it came from. Does that mean swallow? It means whatever you want it to mean. And I'm calling you Chugzer from now on. Oh, thanks. That sounds as complicated as a Saw game. The game. Chugga's on mobile. I'm gonna go and lay down. Stop annoying you, okay, Chugster? But before I go, look what my friend did. He screenied me when we were webcamming, and I was being a dork posting like this. Oh wait, mobile? Sorry, show me next time, my computer overheated. Actually, wait, let me get on my other computer. Chugga is online, go for it. Lol-K, mind the expression, don't smile. And I didn't expect a picture! It still amused me. Fuzzy pickles? With you? More like Fuzzy Mickles, am I right? By the way, tell me if I am annoying you. I know I can be downright retarded and hyper. Hahaha, I like talking to you, dork. Seriously, yay! I'm still thinking I annoy you, but yeah. Going to lay down for a bit, annoy you later? Yeah. You just want my lurve. Pff, sure. Hahaha, sleep well, Jigglypuff. Oh, wow, whoa. Does everyone fall asleep when I sing? Draws a mustache on your face. Guess what, chicken butt? No, the game. Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff used double slap. Oh, and I meant to thank you. Oh, why? I was freaking out before the surgery. You made me laugh. Ha 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 ha, naw. Ha ha ha, you're welcome. Dumb laugh at Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff, do you sing? Thud. Pout. Draws all over face with marker. Pff. Wakes up. What a nice nap. Looks in mirror. You wrote the game on my face backwards, so I'd see it every time I look in the mirror? Ow. You're gonna make me pull my stitches. Jigglypuff used frustration. Pfft, with me, I'd use return. Lolly responds, don't make me use double slap again. Chugga says, please don't use attract. Jigglypuff used attract? I like to defy you. What a lovely giant googly eyes you have. Jigglypuff used endure. Gulps? Oh shit! Is that a one-hit KO? Only if you want it to be. I finally get why this works. Jigglypuff used flash. Lol. Why? Who a new round orb could have such lovely round orbs? I'm terrible. Lol. Ow. Officer Jenny pulls you away like Brock. What are you gonna do now? Jigglypuff used mimic? Eep! She's attracted to me now. Jigglypuff used facade, falls to the ground at your feet, still under the spell of attract. You're so lovely. Everything about you. Even the smell of your sneakers down here. Jigglypuff used defensive curl. Fetal position. Critical hit. While Jigglypuff used snatch. What do you snatch? Gonna get shot for saying this. 2 great balls. Shot. At least you didn't get my good rod! Ow! You're too funny for your own good! While Jigglypuff fainted, attract wears off. Ew, there's a dead thing over there. Its eyes are grossly huge, and its sneakers smell horrible. Oof, totally not wearing sneakers? And can't I be a better Pokemon than Jigglypuff? You wanna be Stunky? No! Can't I be an epic win Pokemon? You have to unlock that. Jigglypuff used hack! Jigglypuff is evolving. Someone used a bad code. Hello, missing no. Oh fuck, clobbers you with weird data block things. What are you doing this for? What'd I do to you? You made me faint? You crashed yourself. What the fuck? Wow! I actually crashed, XD. You know, you must really hopelessly love me like a stalker, considering you use supernatural powers to force me to temporarily fall in love with you. And during such time, took my balls. Facepalm. No. You did it, not me. You must secretly wanted me to do it because you tempted me with that move, knowing I would defy you. Please don't even try to cover up your feelings, but there is none. Are you trying to confuse me? Jigglypuff is confused. It hurt itself in confusion. I think it's time for payback when you're stuck like that. Emil used mimic. Emil used attract. Oh crap. Jigglypuff used gulp. Oh, you suck. You love it. You know you do. Jigglypuff used tickle. Of course, Jigglypuff. Not really. Ugh, no, don't tickle my feet. That's the worst spot. Jigglypuff used tickle. Hee, jiggly, nuzzles on. Ha 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 no! Stop! Give me back my shoes! I made it! You're mean. Lost connection. Throws your shoes into a river. Jiggly? No! Why did you? Jiggly wanted to. Nuzzles. Attract wears off. Double slap. Emil used scratch. I have shoes once more. They were in the river. Nah, I borrowed yours to replace them. Hence snatch. You're wearing girl shoes. Puffed. As if you wear girl shoes. I wear frilly skirts and such. Your move. Humph. At least I have shoes, and my feet don't smell. Mine smell like grapefruit. And I wear either boots or dolly type shoes, XD, or flats. Oh yay, boots! They wouldn't fit you. I used minimize, okay? I'm making up my own new Pokemon move. Jigglypuff used Voyeur. It's super effective. My translator doesn't know what that is. Congratulations. Well, voyeuring is like to watch? Hard to explain. Well, I fail at explaining. Yeah, you do. Haha, I'm terrible. But I'm worse, right? Worser. Worserist. You're the bestest worserist. Mindfuck. Nah, if it were a real mindfuck, you would have corrected it. PSI brain shock. At least I have boots. My boots. How very girly of you. Now put on my skirt. I feel like snatching something different than that. Snatches glasses. Now, I can see if I tilt my head to match the crooked frames. Walks into a wall. I can't see. May you stub your bare toes for a lifetime. Walks into you, grabs at my glasses. Ah, you sure you want me taking your skirt? That'd be illegal, you know. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not the one I'm wearing. Hands a spare skirt. I'll wear it as a hat. Put it on. It's like a kilt, only a lot more gay. You'd cry if I were gay. I would not. Your fangirls would, not me. Yeah, well. Gonna go rest for a little if that's okay. Alright. Talk to you later, Chugzer. The game and such. Gives you a smash ball, presses B for you. Yay, swelling. XD. Grabs it and smashes it off an edge. Damn it. In this case, I don't see you again today. You sleep well. Oh, you haven't slept yet? Sleep, sings to. Chugga, no, I haven't slept. Draws all over your face. You sure do love putting me to sleep. I'm helpless to whatever it is you want to do to me. Ugh. If I wanted to rape, I would. But I done. Now go to sleep. What were you gonna say? I wasn't. I saw typing. I wasn't typing. You're hallucinating. You need sleep. All right. Sleep well. Have you remembered the game today? You lol. If ER does. What? My initials are ER. Oh. Keep in mind, this game that they're playing right now in DMs is what Chugga was referring to her 12 years later, saying he wanted to do again and had a fond memory of. Would you press enter? Don't pretend you didn't know, stalker. Lol. I admit I have stalked that before, but I didn't put that together. Did I die? Possibly from boot deprivation. Pfft, connection died, and if I die from anything, it's going to be food deprivation. Can't chew. Lots of sour cream and water for you. I hate both of those things. Gah, my connection hates me. Sorry. You know it's horrible when the other person doesn't even see you've logged out. You are so kind, XD. I'm gonna assume you're busy with something. Or someone. Oh no, I'm not. Well, I'm kind of telling someone what happened with this girl I liked for a while, but it's not a big distraction. Oh, girl problems? I'll butt out if you want. Oh, it's no problem. Don't worry about it. I'm kind of half used to having terrible luck with girls. Where's that cocky attitude now? Well, I'd say you'd have better luck if you stopped trying. Love works like that. And I'd rather not get into my own failures. Shot. Haha, well, I wouldn't say I was trying. I was more so really hopeful. I've come to the conclusion that every girl in existence meets one or more of the following criteria. Lives 2,000 miles away. Gay. Related to you. Under 18 and illegal. Mentally insane. Taken or married. Ha 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 ha. LOL. The guy that I likes lives about 18 hours away from me by car and will be 18 in fall. XD, a lot of 18, yes. XD, who cares about being legal? And who cares about distance? I plan to move to him when I get the chance. Someone fails at calculating how far away Florida is from Canada. LOL. It's not you. I told you I had someone I loved. Ha 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 ha. I know. It was just a see what I did there moment. LOL. I'm illegal to you anyways. Yeah, I'm gonna be 20 in a month. That's 5 years older than me. Never actually had a girlfriend before. Well, I had one, but I prefer not to count her. LOL. I never had an official boyfriend either. But I'd like to count the guy I like, shot. Seeing as we never went out, we never kissed, and it all ended up just being a trick. A lie? Yeah, the whole thing was a lie. Was this girl GLaDOS? Huh? Fail Portal reference. Sorry, I've never played that game. I've watched it because all of my computers are slow. Anyway, you know the cake is a lie thing, right? I have a computer that could be used for gaming, but I just don't like PC gaming. And of course I know about that. GLaDOS is like the computer who promises you the cake, but you don't get the cake. It's a lie. But at the very end there is a cake and stuff. Well, in that case, it wouldn't mean that the cake isn't a lie. It's just that the fact of you getting the cake is a lie. Pretty much. Mind fucks. I watched someone play Portal once. It didn't really look all that fun. Looks headache inducing. Lol, it looks difficult to me. But one of my friends got it and played it, said it was easy, and beat it in less than a day. I've heard from everyone that you'll beat it in like 3 to 4 hours, pretty much. People can speedrun it in 20 minutes too. Oh shit, I still kinda wanna play that game. And ow, I think I pulled my stitches trying to eat pizza. Evil pizza? Stupid me. I know I'm not supposed to be eating solids yet, but I'm starving! You're a baby. Why did you always come up with these names for me? First Jigglypuff, now this? You're just fun to pick on. Of course. Oh, and here's my sword. Don't go through the others. You might see my cheeks. Love the cheeks making only one eye visible. And which cheeks are we talking? Smack. Smack. Ha ha ha. I had to. It's even funnier because I had a panty shot up, but it got removed. I don't get why. It's your own private album to show only to people you want it to see. You should be able to have whatever the fuck you want on there. I know, right? And the failest part is, I have pictures from the beach on that album. Like, it shows more nudity than a panty shot. And they're still up! Wait, Canada has beaches? Lollies? I thought all the ocean was frozen up there or something. Wait, are you being serious? Yeah, I am. Lol, nope. I've always figured there wasn't liquid oceans or lakes up there. It gets like 30 degrees Celsius here in summer. Then again, this is coming from a guy who has never seen a flake of snow in his life. And the coldest temperature he's ever felt was in a freezer. Lol, come here for the winter. You can live in my closet. No one has taken up the offer yet. I'd like you to keep me in your closet. I would, and I'd feed scraps from dinner. And I'd make you do my homework even if I ever went to school. From lol fail. Glump. Hello, adorable stalker. Oh, hi there. I'm that easily categorized. And I have 3 things to say. 1 good, 1 would make you laugh, and 1 make that 2, I forgot. So overtaken by persistence to remember. Oh, pfft, I've had a rough day. I'll start with the 1 that would make you laugh. I got my hair cut, and the hairdresser told me if I wanted to dye my hair, I'd need to bleach it first. So my friend bleached my hair. It turned out blonde, and orange in different places. So I look like my head is on fire. Chugga responds, told you that you were really blonde. She responds, I am not! I just translated Japanese software into my computer. It deleted a file, so I had to manually fix it. Not blonde! And the goodish news, have you heard of the Wii game Pokepark? Oh yeah, I have. That game looks awesome. I was browsing the Japanese Pokemon site, XD. Shut up. Give me the boots. But they're mine! You would look womanly. Arguing? What? Wait, what? Don't pretend you weren't arguing with me about it. But I don't have to do what you say. You're not the boss of meh. That's right. I backsass my elders. Fine, then you ask for it, ties you to a tree, takes your boots, cuts down the tree and makes it fall on you. Abuse! Death underneath the tree. Little soul thing flies out. I'ma haunt you now. Haunt me and the boots get it. Possesses you and makes you slap yourself in the face. You're asking for it, eats your boots. Makes you stick your finger down your throat. Anorexic. Hahaha, that actually doesn't make me throw up in real life. Or is it bulimic? I've tried it. Oh, damn it! So have I. Nothing. Well then, it's okay. You can have your boots back in about 24 hours. Makes you pinch yourself in the stomach. Oh no, you didn't! Triple snap. Keep it up and I'll do the same to your socks. This is like the Wizard of Oz gone bad. I'm the witch you killed and stole my boots. Wait, I have your bod. Makes you run around naked in the streets. You'd like to force me to be naked. Twitch, give it a rest. Makes you take pictures of yourself naked and post them on 4chan. Revenge! I would threaten to eat more of your clothes, but that would be illegal, you know. Good, go to jail. Makes you run around yelling. I lure young girls to me on the internet and touch them in places. Fine, eats your skirt. makes you wear lipstick and makeup and a skimpy outfit, makes you dance around the street corner yelling, looking for a good time to creepy old men, eats your crooked glasses. Stop eating things on my corpse, you possible necrophiliac. Fine, I'll stop eating things on your corpse. Eats your corpse. Necrophiliac! Fine, now I'll possess you forever and talk to you and be all like, I see dead people, and make you touch yourself in public. Insert evil laughter here. Why are all the things you do to me sexual? You really do want me! Facepalm, that's embarrassing. Be right back. Alright, miss me? Yes. Bah, I'm sleepy. Sorry, Stocky, but I'm going to take a nappy. Have fun with whatever's left of my corpse. Burps out a hand. Sleep well. Tackle glomp. Cooked glasses face. Meanie butt necrophiliac! Wait, are you busy, or am I free to be stupid? Guess now that you're dead, you'll always be a free spirit and stupid. I'm not free. I'm $69.95 plus tax. Not stupid. Hump, you're stupid. Your face is stupid. Great, I died. You killed me. If I'm stupid and I killed you successfully by outsmarting, what does that make you? Someone with bad internet connection that is extremely gullible. I'm smart when I want to be, but it's much more fun to be stupid. And bootless. What? Just randomly? And bootless. I can't help if we have the same tastes in boots. Just get your own. Screw that, I'll just steal yours. Even if they stink. Tix, tish. But I want mine, you creep. I bet you'll cradle them all night long because you're as much of a stalker as me. Stop killing me! Hey, I stopped after the first time. Sure, trying to get away with murder and rape of me. Pedo. Rape? I never did. Or did you? Dramatic music, camera zoom. You just want me to, which is why you brought it up. I do not. Pedo. I do not. Pedo. Again, you bring it up. No, you bring it up. Shot. So my friend was like, oh no, 4chan is down. So I was like, gee, that sure is unfortunate. Lol. Puns. Since I is stalker, I can stalker do anything for you for your birthday besides giving you boots. Oh, I was gonna ask for that. You don't have to do anything for me. No boots for you. And of course I do. You're a stalky and a friend. Well, do you need my address or are you going to make me something? You don't have to do anything, you know. Wouldn't want you to go through too much trouble. She responds, whoa, would you let me mail you something? I'd send you a giant fucking Yoshi plushie, like mine, or anything you can think of really. As long as I can do it, I will. Hahaha, don't go through too much. I'd be happy even if it's just a card. Nah, lame. I'd so send you my boots. Hahaha, only one condition. No posting it on 4chan, or any other site for that matter. Hahaha, my address, I mean. Psst, why would I do that? Why would I? It's for me, you know. You're you. Hey, you don't know me well. I'm good with secrets. Just don't go through too much trouble. I don't like accepting a bunch of huge gifts on my birthday. Like my aunt usually buys me. Hahaha, relax, I only have $120, XD. Oi, my aunt is crazy. She sent me a 125 gigabyte PS3 with a second controller and a Blu-ray remote, and says it's only one package out of 3. She just loves you. If I had the money, I'd get you something epic too. Personal information. Oh, I don't think it's gonna be there by your birthday. And I think I died, logs off of MSN. And this is like a stalker's dream. I know where you live, XD. Like you could ever get here. You're like at the North Pole. That's what she said. Of course I'm down near the bottom. Stop making sex puns before I can, Tier. I'm going to go to bed now, but I just realized that if I send you a gift, you're gonna have my address too. Ha ha ha, it works. Unless you send me a bomb. Lol. I wonder if they sell bombs at store. That would be funny. What works? Ayo. Works that I have your address. Ha ha ha. Oh lord. What are you gonna send me? A boot. Your fan mail? Well, anyway, you sleep well. Alright, good night. And expect something odd. Not sure when, but soon. Grumple huggle flea. Oh, you got it? Was waiting for you. Well, sorry, my stalker senses aren't tingling. My mom told me I'm not allowed to wear the shirt, though. Lol, 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 lol. I'm amused with myself. In bed? Oh, shut up! Oh, and the plushie was mine from about 3 years ago. I bet I can find a hair on it and clone you. Why would you want to clone me? To kill you and replace you? There's no point in that. I like being alive, thanks. Hey, Chugzer. Yes? The game. But really, the guy I like got mad I sent you the plushie. Oh, really? I'm sorry. Yeah, lol, don't be sorry. I didn't tell him about the shirt. XD. I'm a legendary. He's just a Pokemon. Lol, tosses a Master Ball at I collect the legendaries for my team. Are you as good as Garania? Probably a Pokemon. My dick in a ball? Pfft, I guess so. I will give a name to Chugga, the game. Sure it's within the character limit? It is. Go, the game! Oh, I'm an ass. My friend wanted a Snover, so I named it the game before trading it to him. They can never change the name. Exactly! Ultimate win. Getting off of Meebo now. I hope you enjoy your loosey gifts. Ha ha, I did. Thanks. Booty. Bad puns. Booty. Wait a minute! I think I got that. Oh, and at the risk of getting flamed, I'd really like to battle you in Pokemons. Oh, go suck a pizza. Nom's a pizza. I totally pwned you. Actually, you probably would. I left my cartridge with my team on it in Texas by accident, and they still haven't mailed it back 4 months later. Oh, dang. It's not difficult to mail things. I would know, XD. And I'm a horrible person. I have an all Ubers team. Well, bye. And you lost the game. And if I could play a Rickroll, I would. Yo, haha, hello, booty. You suck. I love you too. I know you do. You secretly love small children. Don't deny it. Pfft. You're only a few years younger. Yeah, creepin'. I know that, but it's still pedophilia. But it's okay. The law will never stop us. And I have no idea what's wrong with me. Lack of sleep, XD. Sounds like my life. Baby, come back! You can blame it all on me. Oh, woo. You throw out your mop and broom? I had one or two. Wait, I had those? Just like how you had sneakers. But I don't. You do. And I wear them when you're not looking. You mean like now? But you're looking, so no. Notices a bulge in your boot. Hey, wait. Pushes you down and snatches off your boots. You wear my sneakers inside of your boots. You're cheating. When I catch you, jumps on. Guy is pinned. Please have mercy. Haha, gwahaha. You got pinned by a girl. Has no idea what to do on top, Noms? On top? Yes, I am top, which means you are bottom. Guess it's not pedophilia if you're the one doing the raping. Rape? And to the law it is. And is it rape? You're not gonna rape your boots off me, are you? Don't close his mouth. What a lovely idea. Rapes the boots off, whatever that works. No, give me back my shoes. They're all mine, blah, and so are you. Insert various inappropriate stuff here. You sure love raping me. You sure love being raped. But that means it's willing, and willing rape is sex. So now it's pedophilia. My feet are cold. Can I please have my shoes back? Fine. Whines and hands shoes back reluctantly. Yay! Puts them on before my feet freeze. Too bad. If you kept them and my feet became encased in ice, I couldn't run away from you. But you made your choice. Damn it! Well, I can still, clings tightly and handcuffs myself to you. There is no escape, mortal. No escape from me either. And why would I run? Stare. Sun is up. I'm going to head to bed now. Good night, morning. Ah well, sleep well. You're still cuffed to me. Drags. Well, you will be sleeping well then. Oh yes, I will. But if I'm cuffed to you, there won't be much sleeping? Anyway, good morning, totally sleeping with. I am not Jigglypuff. Yeah, you're booty. I haven't been Jigglypuff for ages, stupid teeth. And what you doing? Holds boots. They're mine. Eep! Where are my sneakers? Also mine. I have hidden them in one place you would never look. Under your mattress? No. I said you would never look. I'm getting off of AIM now. Bye, Necro. Can I please? please have my sneakers back before you go? Sorry to bother you, sleep-deprived Ty. You can have them for a hug. How about kisses? You can have the boots too. That's more like it. If you did get unbanned today, I'd laugh. Also, it's not much, but I guess I can give you a preview. Okay, so this is like art for his Let's Play. Ooh, clicky. It's scary. I am a girl, therefore spiders scare the balls off of me. Sadly, it's not like I ever had any to begin with. Internal ones. Pff, my internal balls. I hope no one kicks them. Does that actually hurt you guys? I wouldn't know. I can tell if it would hurt like if you smacked a girl's boobs right before it was her time of the month. Either that or make her horny. One or the other. I say too much when I'm tired. But don't I do that to you every day? Make her horny? Wait, what? So that explains it. Shot. God, I'm awful. The game. Oh, hi. Hey. Lolly's a lolly. What normal human being is up at 7 in the morning? And then one is like a fuck you, and he's like, fuck you in there. Snuffa. That was unintentional fuck you. But still, but yeah, I actually had a normal sleeping time today. It's the end of the world! And yeah, my nickname is Lolly. Hey, with your cosplays, you really are a lolly. Please tell me you don't know the actual meaning of lolly. And no, lolly has a much better ring to it than pedo crush. Oh god, you know the meaning, dead. Lolly's prepubescent though. Boo, ooh, you busy? The game. Oh, you. That's my line. Not anymore! Well, then I'm forced to steal sneakers. I had no other choice. Gah, give me my shoes! No, they're mine! All mine! Runs away. Don't make, trade the game to get them back. Climbs out of some tree. Tosses apples at. I want them both! What do you need my shoes for? I don't know. You seem to want them, therefore I do too. Blackmail, ooh? Well, if you want my shoes because I want them, why aren't you taking all of my other clothes too? Bad idea. Very bad idea. Leave shoes in tree, runs and steals your clothes? Gah! I have to climb the tree in the nude to get my shoes back? Sets your clothes on fire, climbs the tree. God, don't burn my sneakers too! I'll do anything! Anything! Anything? Evil face. Anything! Just spare the sneakers! Insert generic evil laugh here. Entertain me! Like how? You could think of something. Hovers a lighter under the shoes ominously. Jokes! What do you call it when a horse goes on a holiday? A holonet. Facepalm, tosses a shoe at. Conks on my head and lands on my foot perfectly. Giggles at you getting hit in the head. Okay, why couldn't the 11-year-old get into the pirate movie? It was rated R. Effed. Heard that one though. Sets one of the laces on fire. Gah, quickly! What happens when you put a parrot in the washing machine? Poliwhirl! XD tosses the other shoe at. That amused me. Sadly, nothing can be done about the clothing. Pinches out the lace fire. Yay, my sneakers! What? I wear shoes. Isn't that enough clothing for you? Haha, don't get arrested for public nudity. Crawls out of the tree, fails and falls. Gah, you landed on my back. They fall out of the tree, land on each other, and make out. Flails around on top of you. Shut up! Ha ha ha, you want it, says the naked one. So shut up, duct tapes your mouth. Jigglypuff, fuck you! You remember that! Jigglypuff used double slap. Chuggaaconroy uses sing. A whole new world. Oh fuck, falls asleep. Oh the irony, teehee. Puts on your shirt and pants while you are asleep. Hides your boots in a safe. Wakes up naked with you wearing my clothes. Oh what the? That skirt looks very manly on you. Hides in tree. What about your boots? I will deal with it after finding Why did I run? Falls out of tree and takes clothes from you. And that's where it ends. 2021. Have you been in those shoes undisturbed for 12 years? Cause like, I'm not sure I can picture what it was, saving them for marriage. Guess I shouldn't joke around if you don't like the idea of this. But would you want to do that? Do what? Do what we used to one more time. What did we do? Am I forgetting something or are you bullying me again? I mean the shoe thing we did as teenagers. In 2021, he says this. We do have some statements from his roommate and fellow collaborator on his Runaway Guys channel, NintendoCapriSun. He's just replying to some people on Reddit. I don't know if it's set in stone yet, but after Emil gets out of rehab, I believe he wants to disappear to go stay with his girlfriend for an unspecified amount of time. He didn't say how long, could be months, could be a year, but he won't be here. He said I could stay at the house and look after it, and we will continue to split the bills like we've been doing. Here's a bit about the timeline so far. He made the hotline call on Wednesday morning and was admitted then. That night, he was transferred to another facility. I assume they wanted to deal with the Ucklers/internal bleeding caused by the stress first. So this one, just the Emily stuff was out. This was before the new stuff came out. And then about 2 a.m. Thursday morning, so technically 72 hours goes until 2 a.m. Sunday morning, or about 11 hours from now. He's talking to a psychiatrist today, but we don't know for sure if he's going to get out tomorrow or not. They might keep him for one more day, but that's up to the docs. Oh, small edit in case anyone wonders. I deleted the videos of him and me watching Nintendo Directs. I haven't deleted the Pokemon Sapphire finale where he post-commentated, or a Yoshi's Crafted World with his name in the title. I still gotta remove some Twitch alerts that he's in and fix Steven and Tom's countermeasures. While I am trying to disassociate publicly, I am not giving up on him personally, but it is pretty rough. The other member of the Runaway Guys, John, said on Reddit that he unfollowed Chuggaaconroy. Tim, or NintendoCapriSun, deleted some of his Reddit posts, but luckily Provolone Cheese on Twitter has documented some stuff. He is safe. He is not at the house, at least for 2 more days, and has no access to his phone. When I mentioned very serious help yesterday, yeah, just trying to stay discreet. He is actually allowed to call us on the phone they have there, just not on his own phone. The last time we talked was literal minutes after the latest allegations came out. I don't think he's referencing the pedo stuff here. I think at this time when this was posted, this was the MasaeAnela stuff. So that was uncomfortable, but he knows. He knows as much as we do. He told us in that chat that we should stay away from him. The conversation ended shortly after that. He called back an hour later, but he only talked to his girlfriend that time. I was downstairs cooking. According to her, he was apparently on some heavy medication, so it was pretty mellow. But he passed on his blessing to me to say why he is where he is. The thing is, if I do that, I worry people will lash out at the victims in response saying, "Look what you did to him," Twitter especially. The discourse around here is much more civil, and I do appreciate that. But yeah, it's a weird day. There's still no evidence that he actually attempted. At least we know he's being looked after and coming home soon, which is a good sign. He did not attempt anything. He called a hotline, just clearing up that small misconception. I'm probably not going to look at social media that much today. A couple months ago, I covered a bunch of allegations made against the YouTuber Chuggaaconroy, who has now came out with the response to everything in this Twitter thread where he says, "Hey everybody, it has been a long time since I last shared anything with you, but I now feel ready to give an update on how I have been doing, and clear up speculation on some incidents that have been brought up since my last message. Whenever something blows up online, people make a lot of incorrect assumptions based on not knowing the full story, and often assume the worst possible context. I would like to start by clearing up these misconceptions. I haven't wanted to reveal information about others, but I think at this point, it's best that everything is out in the open. I have removed irrelevant personal information as I only want to say as much as I need to in order to set the record straight. Please do not bother anyone I name here. I do not want others to experience what I went through. I have already asked that people not harass my accusers, and it is disappointing to see this ignored or not respected. I truly don't want anyone to be attacked over this. Regarding Masae and I dated for 10 years and we were engaged to be married. It fell apart about 3 years ago now. In every video you've ever seen us together in, I was her boyfriend, and our friends all knew about it. You were probably wondering how this stayed a secret for so long. We both wanted our private lives to be hidden at the beginning. After the engagement, I wanted to share it, but Masae stayed firm that it remained private. She was never clear to me as to why, but I respected her wishes until it was necessary to clear this up. We loved each other, and I thought the world of her, but we had a difficult breakup. Losing her was the hardest thing I've ever gone through, and I regret how emotional I got about it and the way I handled it. That is what happened between us. We would both like to never hear about one another again, and I sympathize with her getting bombarded about my situation after a breakup. The feelings she expressed go both ways, and I don't wish to be associated with her going forward in any capacity either. As for her video cameo after the breakup, I did that because I believed we were still friends and just taking a break from each other, but once she told me she didn't want them, I stopped. I have strong feelings about the way it was said, but I am asking you nicely to not not run away with speculation about her, because I know what that feels like. And if you felt bad for enjoying our old videos, don't. I still look back on them fondly, and personally assure you we were happy and having fun in them. The time for that is just over now. Regarding Lady Emily, in 2023, Emily contacted me through a friend who spelled out how our conversations made her feel. I was shocked by it, apologized to her, and to some friends I had said/done similar things with. It was well received among the people I talked to, and I'd like to say here that I'm sorry to anyone who hasn't heard this from me. I'd hope to tell you on my own terms. This was genuinely the first time this behavior was met so negatively to my face. At the time, I was told that this would not go public as long as I never did it again, which I have not done since. I took it to heart and sought professional help immediately. I felt like shit for months and was seeing a therapist about it every week. And by the start of January, I really felt I was making some great strides in improving. I took Emily's words seriously and was doing my best to take responsibility, but unfortunately, it all ended up going public anyway. It crushed me inside that despite my efforts, Emily and many others would see me as irredeemable. I want to dispel a few things said about me by Emily. I didn't ask her for foot pictures constantly. I asked once if I could see a picture of her wearing the shoes I bought for her, which I honestly didn't realize would make her uncomfortable. I've gone through our logs and could find no evidence of that claim, that I was constantly asking, or that it was of her bare feet. I don't think this is a fair summary of our chats. My kink doesn't define every aspect of my life. I bought Emily shoes because she told me hers were damaged and needed replacing, then told me it was almost her birthday half an hour later. It was spur of the moment, and I just wanted to help out a friend. I've also made jokes about feet and bought shoes for most of my friends throughout my life, even for people like Tim. He then shows the Discord messages he had with Lady Emily, which starts out with him saying, "Nice sneakers." Emily responds, "Lol, thank you. I need new ones to be honest. My everyday pair is starting to see some damage, lol." Chugga responds, "Seems sadly typical due to thin fabric." Emily responds, "Yeah, the curse of liking shoes that aren't durable. Got them on sale though, so for $20, can't complain. Hope you've been doing well." Chugga responds, "Hey, thank you. I just finished editing a video that was nuts to make." They then talk about the video for a bit, and then Chuggaaconroy says, "Do you got any goings on other than having holes in your shoes?" Emily responds, "Not much. Got back from Vancouver last week. Visited someone and stayed with them. That was a wonderful time. Besides that, it's just been settling back in playing Zelda and trying to find out what my month is going to look like planning wise." Chugga responds, "How wonderful that is. I hope you were having a fantastic Pride month too. You deserve so much." Emily responds, "Thank you. It's my birthday month too, so hopefully it's a good one." Chugga responds, "Oh shoot, when's your birthday?" Emily responds, "June 19th, to which Chugga responds, "Wow, another Civil Rights Day. So like, do you have a PO box?" Emily responds, "Not at the moment, no." Chugga responds, "Oh well, I was going to see if I could partake in birthday niceness." Emily responds, "Oh, well that's very kind of you. You can just have my address if you want." Chugga responds, "Oh wow, didn't expect that. So we're on address basis, hahaha." Emily responds, "Lol, well I trust you. You're a friend." Chugga responds, "Thanks. I thought of you as a fast friend too." Emily responds, "I am happy to hear that. Oh, have you been playing Zelda any?" Chugga responds, "Of course. I have about 80 shrines." Emily responds, "Oh wow, damn. I don't know how many I have. Lol, I have enough for a full stamina bar and 11 hearts." Chugga responds, "You can see it on the loading screen." Emily then replies, "Ah, according to this, I've done 54. Chugga responds, "Good work. If I may be so bold, sneaker size?" Emily responds, "Oh, generally around women's 10, give or take a little, but that's usually what works most often." Chugga responds, "Nice," to which Emily responds, "Yeah." Chugga continues his thread by saying, "She would encourage my roleplay and jokes about shoes, and even consented and participated. I checked in multiple times to make sure it was really okay, and trusted her with the sensitive part of myself, so that she wouldn't feel misled or like I had ulterior motives. I think that's also why I didn't particularly try to hide this. I thought I was being dumb with consenting friends, and at worst, that it was a little embarrassing and my kink was probably one reason I liked the subject. My partner read through what Emily posted and thought the tone was silly, not over the line of what's sexual or romantic to me. I trust her opinion on that more than my own. I was also evaluated by medical professionals about my shoe talk. Their view is that it was a way to feel close to a friend and an escape in times of high stress and tragedy. It would resurface whenever things got particularly bad." Chugga then shows more Discord DMs that start out with him saying, "Yeah, YouTube doesn't give sick days. Hope you don't mind all the foot jokes. I guess I just latched onto that after you told me about it. I'm not sure if it's a sensitive subject for you or anything." Emily responds, "Nah, it's fine. I don't mind." Chugga responds, "Oh, okay. I thought about it more and I was like, ooh, I hope she doesn't have a negative association with that or something." Emily responds, "Nah, it's all good. Also, I hope your day has been good." 2 days later, Chugga messages her and says, "Yeah, yeah, being forward with you, I'd rather not keep anything from you and let you make the best decision for you. I am into that, but only with my significant other. I just also like talking about shoes with people because it's also an interest. I talked with my significant other about this when we started dating, and she told me I can talk about shoes with other people because it isn't sexual with my friends. It's just something I enjoy talking about with my friends too. I know that might be a lot to share, and I'm sorry if it is, but I feel it's best to just be open with people and consider what I'd like to know if I was in their position. Emily responds, no, I'm glad to know. Good to have that openness and common understanding. Chugga responds, thank you. That's very kind of you to see it that way. I'm always about communication even if it's about complicated stuff, because why would you not tell your friends important things if you want to keep them in your life? A lot of people are not so kind about this sort of thing on the internet. Haha, sorry to ping again. I just won't be up too much longer and want to finish talking. Chugga then shows some more DMs from the next day to show what the transition looked like between talking about normal stuff to roleplay. The DMs start out with Emily saying, oh, PS2 was the console I remember first really getting into. I feel like I missed a lot of Wii games, to be honest. I didn't really get to actually have a Wii. I mean, I kind of used a Wii, but not really. Chugga responds, surprising. I felt like everyone had one, usually alongside one of the other two. So like, I feel for you. I really do. But if you were still coughing and sick, what do you need shoes for? Emily responds, I mean, yeah, if you want them, go for it. Chugga responds, damn, that was easy. Emily responds, I mean, I'm sick. Far be it from me to put up a fight. Chugga responds, is this a trick? To which Emily responds, why would I trick you? Here are the shoes. They are normal shoes. Chugga responds, ack! No! Emily replies, here you go, and then sends a picture of a shoe. She then says, here, I'll even give you another pair too, showing the boot from Paper Mario Sticker Star. Chuggaaconroy responds, you. To which Emily responds, you can use these later on for potential boss fights or enemy encounters. Chugga responds, oh, fuck off. To which Emily replies, laughing my ass off. And then Chugga says, I see you are just putting them back on like nothing happened after tormenting me. You weren't gonna give them up. Emily responds, I'm never gonna give them up. And then Chugga says, you're asking for it. You were even showing me up at my own shtick. I'm warning you. Emily responds, do your worst. And then Chugga says, okay, fine. Goes over and gives you a hug. Emily responds, ah, I didn't expect this tactic. Chugga responds, feels nice. Hugs you tighter but not uncomfortably. Emily responds, yeah, but also dang, you got me. Chugga responds, yep, I got you. Hugs tighter, now a little uncomfortable. I'm gonna teach you a lesson. Sweeps your legs out from under you and lets go of you as I do. You fall to the floor. I grab into each of your shoes and you yank them off, leaving you barefoot. I stand back across the room from you. Ow, gross. Does it hurt knowing that's what they really look like? Emily responds, no, no, no! You can't do this to me. Chugga responds, oh, silly girl. I'm not done. You won't be getting these back before your doctor's appointment. Enjoy explaining those feet to the doctor, who will undoubtedly be wanting to study them. I turn and run out the front door holding shoes. Eep, bad, bad. You can't be seen like this in public. You need something to hide your feet with, but I took the only 2 pairs of shoes or socks. Emily responds, no! I will wrap them with a blanket, cocoon myself. Chugga responds, and run outside after me like that? Emily responds, I can hop. Chugga then continues his thread by saying, this is the tone of the conversation that led to the roleplay. I think honestly that it reads as pretty silly from both of us. I remember when this happened. I was just playing a video game and laughing to myself when she'd add to it because it was also out there and dumb. I cackled at her sticker star joke. My girlfriend wanted to add that Emily's decision to include personal information about her was greatly upsetting to her. Emily needlessly published the territory my girlfriend lives in. This was not public knowledge and did nothing to prove any point. In Emily's screenshots, I'm open about having a girlfriend and told her my significant other was fine with all of this. Our relationship had no bearing on any of this and never needed to be brought up. I also want to say that I never lied about how this was resolved privately. In my original statement, when you communicated this to me privately a few months ago, I apologized to you directly and promised I would never repeat this kind of behavior again with anyone else. I worded things that way to protect the friend who mediated, as involving others was something I wanted to avoid. I promised my friend I would never repeat this. We discussed it for hours. They told Emily how it went, and then I sent Emily this apology. He then shows a Discord message from November 18th, 2023, where he says, my friend talked to me about this. I apologize for everything I did. I will not reach out again. I am sorry. I never claimed we had a conversation about it. I said it was communicated privately, which it was. I don't think a friend being there contradicts that. I don't retract any apology about hurting her or pestering her for a reply. Nothing I've said changes that I did that. I just felt this important context was left out. This is what I was working with, and why I was so comfortable doing this. I kept asking if it was okay, and kept doing it because she said she enjoyed it. I wanted to be open with someone I cared about rather than just assume, and gave her my word that it wouldn't go into sexual territory for myself. It still wasn't a good way to act. I just hope it's understandable how I could think this way. Due to an autism spectrum disability, I struggle with understanding social cues or people's limits. I don't hide behind this as a shield from criticism. I've learned to live with it. I learned I couldn't always trust myself to say the right thing, or not take things too far due to my inability to see social situations the same way as other people. Doctors have told me this is what happens with me. To make up for this weakness, I learned many years ago to be open with people, relying on permission, asking questions, and requesting others to tell me if something becomes too much. That is what I did with Emily. But despite that, she never once communicated that I said anything that made her uncomfortable until she was considering going public. I was confused when she started ignoring my messages. I don't do well with being ignored. It just makes me worry a lot about the other person because I do best with open communication. When I have nothing to work with, I can't really understand what someone is thinking. And in this case, I thought she liked how it was going. It usually just leads me to wishing each day will be the day I get to hear they are okay. I've learned now that repeated messages like this can be stressful to others. I did everything she wanted me to do once she told me she didn't like it, and I took it into my own hands to get mental help and learn more about my issues. It's perfectly fine to revoke consent or decide it's getting to be too much, but this wasn't told to me. I was told the opposite of that. This isn't a case of, I only listened when I got caught. I did listen. Regarding Lolly, there was a chat log shared from back in 2010 when I was 19 about this. I'm not a pedophile, and I'm not a groomer. I was an idiot teenager who made dirty jokes, and I had no intention of doing anything to this person. Quite the opposite, in fact. This post is taking two separate things over a decade apart and showing them together. When I was a teenager, I said lots of dumb things I shouldn't have. I'm 34 years old now, and can't stand by anything I may have typed that long ago. I don't think anyone could. What I can do is tell you my intentions. To give you an idea of how long ago that chat was, when I was 19, the Runaway Guys didn't exist. I've never appeared at a single convention. I hadn't started college. I still lived at home. I made videos as a hobby, / wasn't professional. And I was working on my first Pokemon Let's Play. I don't think something that old should be treated as representative of the person I am now, in any sense. It was not so long ago that I learned the contents of this log existed when you did. I was extremely hurt to be judged for something from so long ago, and that the headline was worded like I assaulted someone. The internet was a very different place then, and being facetious was everywhere. It was like our escape from censorship, and the edgier, the better. It was easy to get caught up in the moment and say things I didn't mean when I was that young too. You need look no further than my terrible old videos for the tasteless things I thought were hilarious at that age, or how my sense of humor has changed, or how internet culture as a whole changed. It might be hard to imagine, but back then, people commonly threw around vulgar language and joked about horrible things like it was nothing. Some people were concerned about the one part where I said, "I'm going to rape you," and then said something about a video with a cat. This wasn't a serious conversation. It was a popular meme at the time, and I'm sure it was quoting this video. I remember all of my friends quoting it on a daily basis back then. It was like the biggest thing ever. He then links this 9 million view 17-year-old video titled, "Some Guy Yells at Some Cats."
Get the fuck down! Fucking jump! Jump! Get the fuck down from there! Fucking jump! Jump! Do it, you bitch! Do it! Jump! Yeah! Do it! You fucking pussy! Jump! Look at me. Look at me. Up here. Up here. What the fuck are you looking at? Don't fucking run away from me! I'll end you! Where'd you fucking go? You son of a bitch! piece of shit! I'm going to rape you! Fuck you! Run! Fucking run! Yeah! Don't fucking stare at me! You fucking bitch!
Chuggaaconroy continues his thread by saying, as for the pedo crush line, I don't even remember saying it. It was 14 years ago. Probably a joke that was topical. Pedo bear was an enormous meme at the time, and jokes dunking on pedophilia were just what the internet humor was then. Lolly equals pedo was a common joke, and given her username, an easy one. I definitely learned a long time ago that these sort of jokes aren't cool, and could be harmful to victims. Society moved on from this time many years ago, as I have too. You can see the difference between then and now by just looking at anything I type. Most of the rest of the chat is just boring talk about video games we like. Even given the time, if you still felt like that chat was getting out of hand, I agree with you. In fact, I agreed with that when I was 19. Lolly said she doesn't know why our chats ended abruptly. I can tell you exactly why. It was because I disliked the direction of these chats and how young she was, and I've told her this numerous times. After a few conversations, I took a step back and realized that this could not continue. She would constantly initiate raunchy topics with my 19-year-old self. I was oblivious at first, thought it was funny shitposting, played off their behavior as a joke, and thought of them as a friend with a dirty sense of humor like many friends I had back then. He then shows some of these messages from 14 years ago that starts off with Lolly saying, "Fine, now I'll possess you forever, and talk to you, and be all like, I see dead people, and make you touch yourself in public." Insert evil laughter here. Chugga responds, "Why are all the things you do to me sexual? You really do want me." Lolly responds by saying, facepalm. Chugga continues his thread by saying, after a little while, things started to escalate, and they did send a sexually explicit gift to my house. It made me realize they weren't being silly. They were romantically interested in me, not the other way around. The whole thing made me and my mother uncomfortable, and after deliberation, I not only rejected them, but cut all contact with them. I actually talked about this in the log they posted, and our contact becomes a lot less frequent after that. You can see after this point, we go long periods of time without talking, and I just tell her I'm busy or need to get going. I don't look exactly thrilled about this gift. He then shows some messages from Lolly that starts out with them saying, "Oh, you owe? You got it?" Chugga responds, "Was waiting for you." Lolly responds, "Well, sorry, my stalker senses aren't tingling." Chugga responds, "My mom told me I'm not allowed to wear the shirt though." Chugga continues his thread by saying, "I did not speak to this person for another 10 years. I had no intention of ever re-establishing contact. 10 years later, they approached me at a convention and that's how we became friends again. I thought after that long, she was a new person and deserved a second chance. If you need more than just my word that it was joking around, and I was the one who stopped it, here's the proof. This is me telling this story to them in 2021, and their reaction to it. The ages are slightly off due to fuzzy memory, but this was the event that caused me to cut contact." He then shows Discord DMs of him talking to Lolly in 2021, where it starts off with him saying, "Based on my past rejection of you, I don't think I have to justify that I wouldn't want to. Ha 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 ha." They respond, "You rejected me?" Chugga responds, "Okay, I was going to save this story for when we were in a call, but I guess this is on topic. Plus, like, it's been weeks." She responds, "Oh god, what did I do?" Chugga responds, "So that shirt you sent me. My mom found that soon after I got it, and asked me why the heck I had something like that. I told her my friend sent it to me. She immediately goes, 'This girl has a crush on you, no doubt about it.' I go, 'Oh, well, she's 14. I was 18 at the time. My mom told me I can't associate with that, and that it was dangerous, so I'd better keep my distance. As much as I liked spending time with you, I chose to slowly fade out and hope you'd find someone else. That is why I fell out of your life for a few years." Lolly responds, "Oh, this makes sense. I was going to say I would never have told you I had a crush on you. Ha 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 ha. I was big chicken." Chugga responds, "I knew. At least I was pretty sure of it. Once my mom said that, I sort of analyzed a lot of things you'd said and done. It made a lot more sense after that." Lolly responds, "Do you think I was a cop or something? Ha ha ha." Chugga responds, "I mean, I was pretty sure you were you, but I didn't want to abuse or hurt you with an unfair relationship. So regardless, it was a hard no from me at the time." Lolly responds, "Ha ha ha. Honestly, as an adult, I can appreciate that you set a boundary. Chugga responds, I'm glad. I was worried you wouldn't like me anymore back then because I was intentionally snubbing you, at least some of the time. It was something of a relief when you were happy to see me at Con Bravo. Lolly responds, I just figured you were busy with life and moved on, haha. Chugga responds, I kind of had that as a passive excuse. I was hitting the big time around then. I've always enjoyed spending time with you, but at those ages, I wasn't going to let something develop on either side. I wanted you to go find other people. You were still a kid and wouldn't have had that time again. Chugga continues his thread by saying, another side of this is that I confided in them as a teen about the girl I liked at the time. It's not them. He then shows more of the 2010 chat messages that starts off with Chugga saying, there's this girl who I think might like me, and I told her something like that last night. I swear to God. She got so risen up from her depression. Hahaha. Lolly responds, is she someone you know personally or just another fan? Chugga replies, she started off as a fan. She's hopefully going to this thing in June that I'm gonna be at for a few weeks. Pretty much all my friends are begging me to go for her in that time. Hahaha. Lolly responds, you has an online love, eh? Chugga responds, I really don't know if she likes me or not, but I sorta suspect she might. Lolly responds, most likely yes. I mean, you are awesome. Chugga continues his thread by saying, was their humor not acceptable by today's standards? Sure, but this was half of my life ago now. I lacked the experience I have now, and I think this shows I have done no romantic or physical interest in them as a teen. And even back then, once I knew it wasn't a game to them, I rejected it and backed off. It upset me when I learned they wanted me. It put so many things they said into perspective and creeped me out, and I can see it when I read this log again. This was my learning experience about why even jokes like this aren't a good idea, and I've never said anything like this to a minor in the 14 years since. I specifically remember telling my mom that leaving that friendship was the most caring thing to do for this person. Speaking as someone who suffered a lot as a child, I have many ground rules involving minors, and have taken these sorts of things immensely seriously ever since. I read through all of it, and to my surprise, she's the one who initiates the roleplay. She's the one who pretends to tickle my feet, and goes much further than that too. She was the origin of it, at least in this chat. I don't know if she's where I got the idea from, but it's possible. I guess it's neither here nor there. I didn't know I was into that at 19 anyway. This next point is something I was unsure about publishing for months. I hate that this is relevant, and I would not be sharing this if they didn't post anonymously. I cut contact with them thinking that they had an innocent crush that needed to stop. It was a lot worse than that. I was disturbed to find that they admitted that in those old chats, their goal was to manipulate me into having sex with them. Here are 2 separate times they told me this story, as well as a time we briefly touched on it. He then shows chat messages from 2021 where Lolly says, no clue. Someone told me younger was better, so I thought you'd like me more if I told you my age. Chugga responds, yeah. I would not have gone for 14-year-old when I was 18, so I can't say I agree with them there. 4 years isn't so bad this far in, but at 14, you're still finding a lot of what life is, and I'd see that as predatory. Lolly responds, yeah, when I was underage, I wanted to fuck an older guy so badly, laughing my fucking ass off. It just so happened that all the predators around me were inept as fuck, and I just trolled them for being thirsty, laughing my ass off. Chuggaaconroy responds, oh my god, oof. I'm very thankful you didn't end up with one of those. Holy shit. I can see that person really warped your views. Lolly responds, he really did. Thankfully, I have zero sexual attraction to people unless I love them, and all the thirsty weirdos didn't do it for me, and I was and am an asshole, so I literally just fucked with them. Chugga responds, man, here I thought you had a harmless childhood crush on me. Didn't know you wanted to fuck me ASAP. Lolly responds, I am violently sexual. Chugga then shows some more messages where it starts off with him saying, but absolutely, I would not let you do that regardless of how well we got along. Lolly responds, younger me would be disappointed. Current me appreciates it. Chugga responds, ha ha ha, good. I'm glad you grew up. Chugga then shows some messages from a couple weeks later where Lolly says, oh, yeah, and I am as well. I guess it just seemed like an unrelated statement. I also remember, you were like really put off by my age. And I was like, I don't see the problem. Because someone always talked about younger girls being better. So I was like, legitimately? Chugga responds, you told me that story. It's kind of messed up. Lolly responds, it is honestly a miracle no one took advantage of me as a kid. Chugga responds, I'll say it is. You are very fortunate in that way. Lolly responds, like I wanted an older dude really badly when I was a kid too. Like, I literally had a goal to have underage sex, and was depressed when I turned 16. These next set of messages start out with Chugga saying, "Man, I am so happy you never got hurt back then. So happy." Lolly responds, "RNG, right?" Chugga responds, "You are the luckiest person alive." Chugga continues his thread by saying, "I think the whole picture here changes everything about their side of those logs. Their framing of events to make me look like the predator really upset me when I saw this again. Regardless of some jokes on a screen, this is the real tragedy I prevented from happening. I refused to be their friend for so much less than their actual motive. It wasn't just me either. They said they targeted multiple other adults for sex. My feelings about this are complicated. It's horrible in so many ways that they wanted to use me for underage sex, and then frame it like I was preying on them because of some text from 14 years ago. But I also feel for them when I think about how bad their situation probably was. As for the modern stuff they showed, that was after more than a decade of no contact. I had only vague recollections of what our conversations were like back then. And years into this new friendship, I was asking if, as adults, they wanted to text roleplay but spicy. I was forward about that so they wouldn't think I just wanted silly stuff like I remembered us doing. For the record, I was single, and they were fine with me asking. I wasn't in a good headspace when I asked them for roleplay stuff. It was the worst year of my life. I think I just wanted to feel close to someone I cared about in that loneliness. She told me that she liked/missed roleplay, so I thought it was natural to ask. Plus, by that point, we'd been friends again for years. It was 12 years since I cut contact. I didn't even remember most of our old talks, and we'd put our awkward past behind us, so any bad implications weren't exactly there for me. Save for the one time that they ran into me as an adult, I have only ever known this person online. Nothing else ever happened. This was the first time I'd asked them for anything since learning what I liked. More on that in a second. If Lolly is reading this, I'm sorry I made you hurt. I don't think what I've said changes that. I mean it. Though, I guess I'm not surprised at this. We were friends up until this, got along better as adults, and I was glad to have you in my life without that inappropriate crush. It was basic knowledge to both of us that you were the one who wanted me, and I shut it down. I even apologized last year for asking for roleplay stuff, and you said you forgave me and considered me a true friend. I really don't know what you were thinking. I don't even remember these chats, so I was genuinely confused by what you'd even be speaking out about when I heard it was you. It hurt a lot to see you say that you don't know if I ever considered you a real friend. I told you that you were awesome and funny and smart. A lot. We got each other through difficult times. You were a bright spot in my darkest time, and I admired you for it. I spent your birthday with you. You mattered to me so much, and we just had a nice conversation about how we care about each other right before this too. I want you to know that I cried when I wrote this because it was the moment where it really hit me that I will never speak to you again. The hardest part of all of this was going through our chats to find proof of my intentions. In doing so, I opened a time capsule of a beautiful friendship that doesn't exist anymore, and I saw all the very real ways we helped each other. I wish you talked to me about it. I would have listened. I saw you as a friend for life. Please don't get angry at the person who posted those chat logs. They were looking out for their friend/my former friend, and it's possible they didn't have this context either. They were being a good friend. Me at 19. I have something else that speaks to where my mind was at when I was 19. I didn't want to open up about this at any point, but it's a part of this now. I've mentioned in the past that I didn't live the happiest childhood, due to an especially traumatic time when I was assaulted as a child. I was left unable to enjoy sex until well into my adult life. The idea of anything sexual beyond edgy teenager jokes on the internet was foreign to me at 19, and I think my awkwardness shows it. While I may not know why I sent every little instant message 14 years ago, I know what state my body and mind were in at the time, how I struggled with comprehending anything sexual, and how it hindered my attempts at relationships, even with people I was comfortable dating. I struggled with concepts like them seeing me naked, or enjoying sex for years after that. You can see this in my videos with how inept I was at knowing about sex for so long, or how I could say unfortunate things and not know it. Perhaps this is also why I didn't shut things down sooner, and how I didn't think of what their overtly sexual messages could mean, besides people just being dumb as fuck at 19. I had no experience or understanding of sexual situations. It took my mom pointing it out for me to see what was going on. I just matched the vibe of my funny friend until it became too much, and then I left. Because of this accusation, I had to explain what I went through as a kid to several friends who wanted an explanation. It was humiliating and excruciating to relive it with them, and I cried every time. I was trying to essentially train myself to publicly tell every detail, but it became clear after enough hard cries and nightmares that I wouldn't be able to do that and be okay. It brought me back to terrible places I thought I was done with. I was doing so well at not letting it affect me for a few years now, but this drudged it all up, and now I'm here telling you. It's out there forever now. I'm sorry. I know it's a lot. It's humiliating to tell you even this much. In order to be believed, I have to tell everyone about my childhood trauma, my sex life, my health issues, my breakup, what went on in therapy, the mental ward, how my accuser wanted to use me for sex, and how I almost died because of this. It's extremely painful to talk about. People think they are owed that from me, and no one will listen if I just say, I didn't mean that, or I was only a teenager. This is the price I've paid to show I wasn't preying on someone. I refuse to call it a win that I could explain myself in this way. I didn't win when I went through that. After my recent psychological training, I think my childhood trauma is also how I went through so much of life, thinking that there was a clear line between my kink and my interest in shoes, and just how normal the roleplay felt. I had only my interest for most of my life. My roleplaying started innocently long before I enjoyed anything physical or even knew I had a kink. All I knew for a long time was, I think shoes are funny, and I didn't think it was particularly strange that I worked them into stories or talked about them so much. I would act out stories about my own shoes when I was little, and just never really stopped doing things like that. It's also where a lot of my sense of humor has always been, and it really was just a joke for so many years. The realization that there could be some crossover happened much later in life. I compartmentalized things into what was sexual and what wasn't, probably because I did it for so long without a kink, and thought I could go on separating these things by not saying anything arousing for me. It was just very messy and flawed logic for a lot of reasons, and intertwined with something I struggled to make sense of. I definitely needed psychiatric help for this, and I'm really sorry to everyone I hurt because of it. Enjoying sex is still a problem for me at 34. Depending on how much I'm reminded of my past, my ability to enjoy it has only existed for a few sections of my life, and I still go months to years without it. It's been a long time since I last enjoyed it. It's also associated with trauma now, so I don't think I'll be into that again for a long time. It sounds gross. When looking at the full picture of accusations, I want to take this moment to say I've never assaulted or threatened anyone. Every single thing I've shown was entirely in text messages and fiction. It went no further than that. I feel that wasn't acknowledged much in the heat of all of this. I guess it is pretty weird. I don't think I deserve to nearly be driven to suicide, to have so many personal details revealed, or to watch the health of people I love decline, and then for the harassment to continue after it got to that point, especially when I took this seriously long before anything became public. I also absolutely made the right decision to leave that toxic friendship that wasn't fair to Lolly, and I already made that choice 14 years ago to the month. Every single issue here was already resolved privately a long time ago. My visit to the mental ward. Warning, talk of suicide, health issues, blood. I will be vulnerable with you here, as I hope it might help someone. Seeing the online speculation about me unfold caused me so much stress. I lost 8 pounds in a week, developed internal bleeding, and was in the ER twice for blood loss. I would use the bathroom and then lose feeling in my hands. Even worse, they kept needing to take more of my blood every day to test me for my existing health issues. They had to put me on medication to knock me out every night, and I'm still dependent on it. Shortly after you last heard from me, I had dreams and thoughts about ending my own life. I felt I didn't deserve to live, that my life was already over. My mother's high blood pressure was exacerbated by my suicidal ideations, and her health worsened too. She was in the ER twice and only just recently started to recover. When I first called my mom about it, she asked me to hang up and call the state suicide prevention hotline. Some kind of folks came to my home. I told them my side of it, and they placed me in a mental ward for my own protection. I spent a night in a holding facility awaiting care at one point, which was the worst night of this entire ordeal. It was 4 concrete walls, not properly heated, all alone with my own thoughts of how I wanted to die, but it started to get better after that. Everyone on the inside was kind to me, and didn't judge. They understood how people could misconstrue several things about me. It wasn't easy though. I cried for my friends many times, not able to know how many of them still liked or cared about me. While in care, I learned I hadn't been okay mentally for a while, and didn't understand some things about myself, something my friends were worried about before all this happened. I found out I had an undiagnosed psychotic depression and a chemical deficiency in my brain. It explained a lot about my life up to this point. I'm not sharing this as an excuse, it is an explanation. He then shows an image proving his new diagnosis. The thread continues by saying, I could stay bitter/sad about things for years. I handled crises poorly, and my text roleplay behavior would crop up in times of crisis. I now take medication for this depression. Heck, just being aware I had it made it so much easier to know what to do, and to catch it in the act. As a result of my training and reflection, I realized social knowledge that I was lacking. Another behavior that got me into trouble was that if a conversation went too far into a topic, and the other person said they were fine with it, that would become the new limit. I thought that as long as I expressed myself and got an okay, we were all good. This follows a logic and I can see why I believed this, but I understand now that depending on the person, it can get to be too much if we go there again and again. I want to thank another patient in the psych ward for pointing out that I got stuck in mental loops during a crisis and helped me snap out of it. If you were reading this, Destiny, you really helped me, and I only wish you were here sooner because you put it into words that finally got through to me. I think I need to go back in time a bit to talk about my mental health. Back in 2021, I went through many hardships all at once, and it still stands as the worst year of my life. I tried getting psychiatric help, but the mental health industry was overrun due to the pandemic, and I was denied help at every turn. At one point, it took my healthcare 9 months to get back to me, only to be told, sorry, there's just nothing available. Similarly, I was physically cut off from everyone I knew and lived alone in a house for months. The only help I could get for this in 2021 at all was a phone service that sponsors YouTubers, and honestly, it didn't work, and now I have a low opinion of it. They didn't help me figure out my behaviors, and it was just, are you suicidal? And I'm sorry to hear that. They even encouraged my role-playing with friends as a fix for the hardships I was going through. That was how I got back into it after a long time, and what pushed me to ask Lolly as an adult. I'd had a few bad years, and think I just made some bad calls. My counselor didn't know about the internet, only listened to me for a few months, and then recommended I leave so their schedule could fit in more suicidal people. I didn't realize until 2023 how cruel this was, or that I still had lasting trauma from 2021 until a friend told me that I wasn't okay. I think all of this had a lasting impact. I was operating for the last 3 years without the psychiatric help I really needed. How I've been. I've done a lot since you last heard from me. It wasn't all bad. After getting out of the psych ward, I left home and went to live with my girlfriend. I like to think all of my good luck went into having her around. We had rough days during this, but she was so caring, didn't judge me for mistakes I made years ago, knew what decisions were healthy, and never stopped believing I wasn't that same person any longer. You were the greatest, sweetie. As soon as I felt stable, I took care of her because this situation affected her a lot too. All of this wasn't fair to her, and I helped cause it. For both our sakes, I cannot and will not make a mistake like this again. I work hard every day to make sure our future together can be a happy, comfortable life. We had a particularly memorable night where I opened up about the full timeline that got me here. I cried a lot, but by the end of it, we were acting like things were normal again, laughing and making fun of each other. It was a big turning point. I think it was the moment I finally forgave my past self. I didn't get another job, but instead lived as a house husband, making sure everything was taken care of for her. My care made me a better chef and gave me a greater understanding of what she's always done for me. I had some struggles about spending every waking moment writing down video ideas because it was the only routine I knew. My girlfriend liked that I was passionate about something at first, but later worried because it put pressure on me to consider a return to videos. She was right, but stopping was an especially difficult thing to do. This craft has been so much of my life up to this point, and I've always enjoyed the joy it brings to others. It gave me a strong purpose. I kind of just sat around for days, not knowing what to do with myself. About 2 months into being gone from the internet, I began wishing I would be killed. I didn't want to do it myself anymore, but it felt like it would bring an end to my suffering, that I could rest easy believing that. I felt like without my ability to entertain, I had no place in this world. Seeking healthcare where I was staying was difficult. My condition was worsening, and I realized I needed to come home. A lot of you may live in places where this isn't a problem, but the added stress of tremendous medical bills didn't help my health either. Sadly, this meant my partner and I couldn't see each other for a long time. We are long distance, and this situation was so taxing on her health that she needed a medical leave from work. All of this broke right at the start of a visit from my girlfriend. This trip was meant to be extra special because we were one day away from getting on a plane to go on vacation where she would have met all of my friends for the first time, and this was to be the trip where we would figure out our long-term future living together. Instead, I spent half of the visit preparing a statement and the other half in a mental ward while she sat at home with my friend Tim. I didn't even get to say goodbye because I was still in the hospital when she flew home and was forcibly placed in a ward with no visitors. This meant she used up all her vacation time on a trip where I didn't get to see her. Once I needed to come home from seeing her, we didn't know when we could meet again. It's been hard when we were used to visiting often before and had a whole visit taken away from us at the last second. The timing of this could not have been worse. It actually kept me from seeing the person I love. I still don't know when I can see her again. There was one night during this time when I called a friend, and he said some unintentionally harsh things to me about the situation. I was in tears and felt like there was no use even trying to explain myself anymore. My girlfriend got loud for the very first time I'd ever heard, and told me I'm not a bad person, that people only have one side of this, that every person I've talked to still thought I was good, that most people will see reason. I have the best community, and they are probably just waiting for my side, that she loves me and our cat loves me, and you can't fake that. That she was sick of seeing me cry, and that I didn't deserve this much punishment when I took this so seriously before anything was even made public. It was amazing. Every step of this. Everyone told me I wish I could just say something to make this better. No one else could, but she figured it out. Moving forward, I'd like to make an ode to my friends. Several reached out the night I came home from the hospital. They didn't want me to be alone and still believed I was a good person. Heck, I think some of you believed I was more innocent than I did. It took me a while to see this your way. I love all of you, my friends. Even if you were critical of me, I cannot bring myself to not love you. Some of it was things I had already agreed with. Some of it was things I needed to hear. And some of it was telling me that I wasn't as bad as I thought. I want to thank my best friend Tim / NintendoCapriSun. He handled so many decisions in all of this for me when I was not well enough to make them myself. He cooked for me every day when I wasn't allowed near knives. I think you really saved me. Please support him with all you can. I didn't say this last time. I'm so sorry for all of the headache and worry I caused my friends and caused you. I worked hard every day to make sure I would never make you feel like this again and could be dependable once more. I really didn't mean to do harm here, and I feel I've learned about myself in ways I didn't know I needed to. These are positive things. Regardless of my clarifications and context, I definitely still made some mistakes and learned lessons, as well as learned new things about how my mind works. I don't want to get carried away and make it sound like I'm 100% blameless. I needed psychiatric help from my depression and roleplay behavior. I took your criticism of my person seriously, and am forever working every day to ensure nothing like this could ever happen again. It will not happen again. I'm a fan of numbers, so let me show you. Since privately confronted about this, I saw my therapist 6 times before anything was made public, completed 11 behavioral health sessions with a psychologist, continuing to do so for the foreseeable future, spent 5 nights in a mental ward and have met with my doctors twice since then, read numerous medical articles to understand my conditions better and how to avoid mistakes, have never missed a dosage of 4 medications and supplements that better regulate my brain activity, have not ever wanted to roleplay again, feel more self-aware and cognizant than at any point in my life up to this point. I can be absolutely certain I would never disappoint you like this again, and I say that knowing you will hold me to a higher standard than ever. I have and always will continue to give it my all in the psychiatric help I sought out. In my mind, nothing after my apology changed that I meant every word, and was already in the process of making good on all of this, months before anything went public. Some of these I learned and grew from many years ago. I would have been here to tell you this sooner, had my mental trauma not kept me from it. I needed to heal. Just because I know it will come up, I have to be real. This whole experience was so harmful to my health. I'm not sure that I even want this job anymore. I don't know if the life I would have if I started making videos again would be anything I would like, and it sucks to admit that about something I had such a passion for. It's something I would have to think about for longer. What little creative energy I had would always go towards this, and not some fun video I wanted to make. I cared more about telling my side of it, fixing my problems, and improving my mental health. I'm in no state to perform, so don't expect me to show up at any events. I think many of you will still have criticisms of me. I anticipate many jokes at my expense too, and that's okay. I wouldn't have come here today if I didn't know and accept that. Thank you. That's all I wanted to say. Please call the suicide prevention hotline in your area if you were struggling. Right now, it worked for me. Maybe this situation can save a life, and then I can say my pain was worth it. Michelle responds to Chugga by saying, I hate going, ha, I knew it, guy, but I felt that the whole situation seemed strange, especially with the Emily thing in Lolly. Now we finally know the truth of the whole situation. Hope you feel better, Chugga. Hearing both sides is always important. Chugga responds, thanks. Someone sent me one of your comments about a month ago, and it made me feel better. Art Regal AD says, as a fellow autist, I sympathize with what you've gone through here. You were very open about your interest, and you asked for consent every step of the way, and they consented. She had every chance to set a boundary if she felt uncomfortable, but she didn't. Instead of communicating her discomfort and setting that boundary, she continued to say that it was fine, and tucked her discomfort away until it blew up into a whole debacle. You weren't at fault for her failure to communicate. I've been through a very similar situation myself. Chugga responds, I still think I shouldn't have pushed it, and I did still hurt someone. Kiri says, frankly, I'm not certain how to feel. I want to support you, but I'm not certain how I would do that, and if it would be the right choice. I'm glad you are back, and I'm glad you are okay. I hope everyone in this situation ends up alright. I appreciate your take on the situation. Berg responds by saying, I find it absolutely insane if you can't see how he is innocent in this, but can't really call you out for your feelings. Kiri responds, I feel like no one was truly innocent in this situation. I'm wanting to support Chugga because he acknowledged he did something wrong, and is working to improve himself, not because he's innocent. Chugga responds, absolutely a fair opinion. I would never claim I didn't make mistakes and push boundaries. Marley Mac says, Emil, I am so sorry you had to go through all of this. I'll admit in the moment of the controversy, I felt mixed. But deep down, I knew this was never malicious. From what I knew about you, and what I do now, my thoughts haven't changed. None of this should have been public. The only thing I could ever ask from you and this situation is that you get better and everyone else affected from the situation can move on peacefully. The videos in the channel don't matter to me as much as the individual behind them. I apologize for any behavior I've done in the past as a fan. I was self-aware in the moments I acted childish and being too fixated on my own unrealistic wishes. Because even then I knew you had so much on your table as a human being, and for that I will always feel guilty for. Chugga responds, you don't gotta be sorry. I look forward to your comments. It's nice seeing a name that was in my daily life before all of this is still here. Gakupo responds to Chugga's statement by saying, she's a keeper, to which Chugga responds, very much so. Maybe I'll show her to you one day when things are better. Everchanger, who previously made a negative post on Chuggaaconroy a couple months ago, quote tweeted themselves and say, having read through Chuggaaconroy's response, I must say that my take here was wrong, and I apologize. He wasn't ever a monster. He was ill. To a degree I don't think many of us can imagine. I wish him well on his recovery. All these wounds might take a long time to heal. Chuggaaconroy responds, I'd never claim I was blameless in this. Don't feel bad. You lacked half of the information. The Astral Alchemist quote tweets Chugga and says, our man has released a statement. Well done, Chuggaaconroy. Andrew McHugh responds, I hate how he was publicly brigaded against and dogpiled, even by people I'd respect, and have subsequently lost a lot of respect for, with zero regard for his perspective and health. I still find the foot thing gross. That's not gonna change. But he didn't deserve this level of hate. Chugga responds, hey, I find it pretty gross now too, hahaha. Arland responds to Chugga's statement by saying, so incredibly sorry. I cried reading this document. On a side note, are you going to continue being active on Twitter, or are you still going to be on indefinite hiatus from the internet from now on? I understand whichever. Chugga responds, unsure. I think it'll just kind of be how I feel each day. Michael C responds to Chugga by saying, I just want to say, if this is truly the end of your YouTube/video making career, then I truly think Pokemon Black and White 2 is a very fitting end to it. Capping it off with arguably the game series that put you on the YouTube map, and ending with a tribute to our Star Warrior. Hope you were doing well. Chugga responds, I do genuinely think it's a good finale, if it ends up going that way. James responds to Chugga's statement by saying, wow, for someone who says don't harass Emily so much, you sure keep including fuel for people to harass her. Weird coincidence. Chugga responds, I didn't really get a choice but to defend myself after how far it all went. I can defend myself and say, do not harass people. She also already posted a lot of this information herself. James responds, you do have a choice though. Everyone moved on. Do you think, here's a mean thing Emily did in regards to my sexually harassing her, gets you to go back in time? Chugga responds, I wouldn't say everyone moved on. I still faced harassment for this to this very day, and it still affects countless aspects of my life. Emily herself even continued posting about it multiple times in the last few weeks. James responds by saying, the last few weeks were about how she received so much harassment she wanted to die. You poured gas. Julius responds, the harassment isn't happening to one person. It happens to everyone involved in this whole thing. I feel he should have the right to clarify things if his reputation is in danger. James responds, he admits he did this with several people though. The thing people were mad about is true. No amount of, Emily sullied the deal, fixes that for him. He has no success from doing this, unless his entire mission is to make her permanently log off. Chugga responds, I don't want Emily to run off the internet. She's really good at what she does, and it'd be a shame if she quit. I will champion the message not to harass as much as is needed. I just think I get the right to defend myself, as I've had to live with a lot of things that I didn't feel were presented fairly. Lily Pilled responds to Chugga's statement by saying, also I just wanted to add everyone, Tom Bout, you need to take accountability, bitch for what? You didn't do anything wrong other than a little social autism, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, it's all gonna be okay, and I hope you're okay too. Chuggaaconroy responds, I don't want to say it was autism. I still made these choices and hurt feelings. I will never deny that. Thomas responds to Chugga by saying, you said something about being a better chef. What's your favorite thing to cook? Chugga responds, oh, I made this glazed chicken recipe that we ate 3 times because it was so good. It was from a book by some bald guy in the UK. Oi Oi Baguette responds to the part of Chuggaaconroy's statement where he shared the cat video by saying, I can't believe this is what the internet thought was funny. This is actually heartbreaking. Poor kitty. Chugga responds, I cut it because it wasn't important. But yeah, I didn't get why I thought this was so funny back then. It's kind of sad. Secret Blue responds to Emil's statement by saying, hey Hey Emil, not sure if you remember me. I was the guy who drew Chuggaaconroy logos for your first 18 LPs. I never gave up on you. I never even believed you were a pedophile because I looked at the bigger picture. I hope you get through this, truly. It's not a good place to be in. I know. Chugga responds, I remember that. Thank you for drawing it. Mateo loses it responds to Chugga by saying, I think I owe you an apology for the negative things I said then. I appreciate that you mentioned autism spectrum disorder as an explanation, not an excuse. Chugga responds, I appreciate it. I debated even bringing it up because I didn't want it to read as me using it as a shield. My friends convinced me that it was part of the story to talk about how I navigate life with it. Lady Lynn responds to Chugga's thread by saying, I'm also going to say I truly hope you were taking care of any potential trust issues that developed from this, because I don't want to see a world where you don't have some. Chugga responds, oh yeah, I guess that is a thing. Stake Driven responds to the Masae part of the thread by saying, in other words, she deliberately withheld crucial information that adds vital context to the on-screen interactions. That is despicable. Chugga responds by saying, hey, she's still a friend of my friends, and someone I loved for a long time. Let's treat her with respect. Monado responds to Chugga's thread by saying, not addressing the AntDude stuff where he accused you of using him to get to his at-the-time girlfriend, or the general abhorrent behavior from your fanbase that is still happening. Tim told me my side of this on a podcast. I'm not sure I have the link though. As for the latter part, I told people to not harass others or make assumptions about them. Not much else I can do. And I did actually end up finding that podcast where Tim mentioned Chugga's side of the story with the AntDude accusations. Here is what he said.
First, just let me preface this by saying that this is only what I've heard from him. I can't prove any of this. And also, it's kind of a case where I understand both sides a little bit. So with that, I guess here it is. Before COVID, Emil and Ant were going to do a collaboration together. They were planning it out and everything, talking about it in Discord. And somehow, I don't know how the subject came up about it, but somehow the subject came up of her, of Fushi, like coming to hang out with them while they did their collaboration. And then at some point, Ant told him, well, no, she can't come to hang out with us. And at that point, Emil stopped responding. And the fact that he admitted this to me is kind of telling that it makes me inclined to believe him. So, but like, people stop responding to conversations for all kinds of different reasons. But it's probably Ant took that to mean that, well, if Emil stopped responding, that means he doesn't want to do the collaboration anymore because she can't come. So this led into a series of misunderstandings where they thought that Emil was into her.
Oh no.
And this just happened like over and over again.
Oh no.
So like, well, COVID came and went, and eventually all three of them were at a convention together. So Emil started messaging Ant about the collaboration, like, hey, can we, you want to maybe get back on this and try it again? And again, this is just what Emil told me, that Ant never replied to any of his messages until the con was over. At the last second, he replied while they were in the cab to the airport saying, oh, sorry, we're on the way to the airport now. So what he started doing was messaging her because he knew that she would actually answer her messages. So if he wanted to get in touch with Ant, he would message her. But they thought because he was messaging her and not him that he was into her. It's kind of confirmation bias, but at the same time, it's kind of understandable why they would think that. So I don't know. Also, I don't know what order these following three events happened in, so I couldn't be sure. So he started going to her streams and watching her a little bit. And I remember because I was sitting in the room for some of them. But I wasn't sitting in the room for this one, but he said that at one of the streams, she started talking about that she was curious about the science behind kinks and fetishes and stuff like that. And so after the stream was over, he sent her a link to a page all about it. But I guess they also interpreted that as him being into her because he sent her a page about fetishes, even though she said she was interested in it on the stream. So then, remember how Kirby passed away? Like, Kirby was the love of Emil's life. At one of Fushi's streams, she was raising money for her cat because her cat was sick. And Emil donated to help out with that.
Did she get mad because he donated or something?
Actually, they did. They said he was simping.
Oh.
Really?
Oh, no.
But he was donating because he sympathized with her because he had lost his own cat. The last one was, at some point, me and Emil were talking about moving somewhere. And we had all these different places in mind, in North Carolina, New York, Seattle, the UK, Canada. And we were going over all these different possibilities. And at some point, he started talking to a third party who I will not name. It's, you know what, it's Yoshiller, screw it. And Yoshiller's not involved in this at all, don't worry. But he was asking him, does he know anybody who lives in any of these areas? And that's when Yoshiller told him, well, Ant and Fushi live in Seattle, so you could ask them what the living is like there, and maybe, if you were thinking about moving there. So when he asked them,
no.
what is it like in Seattle, I was thinking about moving there. They thought he was trying to move there to get with her. So it's like, this is just a series of misunderstandings that happened. And that's why they said that he made them uncomfortable. So, and it's like, I still understand their side too a little bit. Because of how it all started. But
Monado responds to that link being shared by saying, thanks for the link, but if this was a misunderstanding, that should have been explained more publicly. If Chugga really wasn't in the wrong there, then excluding that is only a bad look. Also, the podcast is like 3 hours long, so that information is super buried in there. Chugga responds, I more so just didn't want to draw more attention to them. It seemed like barely anyone was talking about their part of it, and there was already a public record of what happened anyway. I don't want to include any more people than I had to. Hyperdrive282 responds to the cat video Chugga posted in his thread by saying, I love that you had to use this video as a serious explanation. Chugga responds, I'm not gonna lie. It's probably the one thing that made me laugh as I wrote it. Classic Huggles responds to Chugga by saying, I wanted to ask why you released this statement today. No hate in it, just more curious. I would have figured you wouldn't make a statement until sometime next year on a podcast. Chugga responds, it was just the first day it was ready and I felt ready. It was more about my own mental health than anything. Kindly Kel responds to Chugga's statement by saying, I was active on the internet in that edgy era. It really was a different time. I have memories of multiple people in Halo lobbies threatening to molest me. Everything you were accused of sounded like things that could have been resolved privately. Never doubted you. Chugga responds, thank you. I wasn't sure how many people would remember those times. Some who watch me probably weren't even born yet. Sentient Salt Shaker responds to Chugga by saying, some people will see this and still say you were covering your tracks, or dodging the consequences, or whatever, but you remain one of the most mature and responsible YouTubers I've ever seen. Chugga responds, I've seen some people take that interpretation because I mention autism. I say I don't hide behind it as a shield. I just felt it was necessary to explain my thought process and how I navigate life. I still say I hurt someone and made those choices. That does not change. Orazio responds to Chugga's post by saying, still gonna support you because all of this seemed coordinated by the freak you bought shoes for. No matter how many times you tried to publicly apologize to her, Emily still had more to say to bring you down. I think what we can learn from this is to never apologize. Chugga responds, hey, let's treat her with respect, okay? I still hurt her feelings. Consent or no. I don't want to entertain theories without proof. Zilla Watcher responds to Orazio by saying, this is the fan you wanted, Chugga. This is the rhetoric you emboldened. You should have stayed gone. Chugga responds, this is neither of those things. I already responded to this person hours ago to tell them that their behavior was not cool by me. Zilla Watcher responds, and how many guys like him are reading this, coming to his same conclusion, and not coming up to tell you, orders received, sir. I will destroy all lying bitches. Chugga responds, telling people to not harass others is in my very first post in the thread. I emphasized it as much as I reasonably could, and I repeated it throughout my statement. I've done all I can. Orazo comments on Chugga's thread again, this time under the MasaeAnela section, where he says, it was very telling how she still kept video collabs with you on her channel, while somehow calling you out for uploading video collabs with her on your channel, without her consent. Cal responds, it's because she didn't remove any already posted videos, nor did she expect him to do so either. Her issue was him posting something after the fact, something she did not do. Orazio responds, if she actually had a problem with Chugga and thought he was some sort of creep, she would have removed the video they did together on her channel long ago, but she didn't. Cal responds, but she had stated she didn't feel the need to do that, particularly because she did not want to draw the public's attention that something might have happened. Orazio responds, she finally cared about the public's attention when it worked in her favor? She's a scumbag in my book, only calling out her issues once everyone is dogpiling on Chugga already. I know she only removed the videos once people were calling her out on it. Chugga responds, let's not fight about what she did. I'm sure she had her reasons. So in part 5, we went over the YouTuber Chuggaaconroy's statement responding to all of the accusations made against him, which received such a positive response from fans that Chugga ended up making this follow-up tweet saying, hey, it's me again. I wanted to say thank you for reading through my statement and for your support. This has been an immensely traumatic time for me, which is why I want this cycle of hatred to end. In my statement, I pleaded for no harassment towards the people I named. All of them are people I cared about a lot, and I just want the arguing to stop. If you were name-calling or making their lives hard, that isn't helping the situation. I know what it's like to go through this all too well, and I don't want that to perpetuate. And I'd like to echo the same sentiment to my audience. These videos are made for archival and informative purposes, and I don't want anyone using this video as an excuse to go and harass people. With that being said, we are going to take a look at what MasaeAnela had to say in response to Chugga's statement. MasaeAnela tweeted out, Emil. After communicating with Emil, we would like this message out there. Yes, Emil and I were engaged. Keeping it private was a mutual decision, especially especially through the first several years. After that, when Emil expressed interest in becoming public, I was hesitant because of how much social pressure was already put onto our relationship. He was respectful of that, and we proceeded with the status quo. We do not condone the harassment of any party, and the omission was an effort to prevent speculation about our now very separate personal lives. Ultimately, it is a personal matter and a joint decision between two adults. I would like to reiterate that my objective with my previous post was just to be left alone, and that has not changed. I was being asked a lot of invasive questions with increasing frequency, as I'm sure Emil has as well. We do not want to be associated. We do not want to hear of each other moving forward. A mutual sentiment, as our paths are now completely separate, and we want to move on with our lives. Although I cannot be a part of his journey, I wish Emil luck on his healing and his path forward. Chuggaaconroy responds by quote tweeting her and saying, I want everyone to know there is no ill will on my side either. You said what you thought was necessary to get people to leave you alone. It was other people who made assumptions. That was why I needed to say what I said. I wish you the best in life without me in it. You deserve it. You are a wonderful human being who has done so much for me, and I want you to succeed and come back from this. Squid of a Baconator responds to Chugga by saying, I really hate that you guys got put into a position of having to bring this public, when it should have been none of our business in the first place. I hope that both of you were able to move forward and heal. Chugga responds, it's a shame, but I'm glad it had a mutual resolution in the end. Hexlarious Comedian responds to Chugga by saying, oh my god, she tried to ruin you. What the fuck is this? This is insane. She isn't worth this consideration because she doesn't think you are. Chugga responds, you don't get to decide that. Only we get to decide there is no ill will between us, and that we respect one another. Hexlarious responds, holy shit. You understand the implications of what she did, right? This isn't forgiveness. This is self-sabotage. Ashley responds, bro, lay off please. They then show a Persona screenshot that says, kinda pointless if we gotta stoop to the bad guy's level to take him down. Hexlarious responds, you are nearly 30. It's insane you can't see the fucking issue with what she did. She pushed him to a suicide attempt. Frankly, knowingly. Shogun Robin responds, knock it off, Hex. You just make yourself sound like a vindictive asshole now. Knock this shit off. And leave Emil and Masae alone, you bellend. Hexlarious responds, like genuinely, do you not understand the gravity of what she did? And then Chuggaaconroy responds, it happened to me and I will tell you I am fine. I got what I needed out of our truce, and we need to just drop it. She is a friend of my friends and someone I loved for a very long time. That does not change. If you must argue about it, leave me out of the conversation. The Astral Alchemist responds to MasaeAnela by saying, hashtag we are with Chuggaaconroy. Well done, Masae. I am still a fan and will continue to support you. I will do my best to keep reminding people to leave you alone and to drop this subject. Chugga's roommate and best friend NintendoCapriSun then responds, hashtag we are with Chugga and Masae, which Chuggaaconroy reposted. Astral Alchemist then tweets out, hashtag we are with Chuggaaconroy. NintendoCapriSun started it. Chuggaaconroy agrees with it, and so do I. We are with Chugga and Masae. Brett GB responds, hey Astral, just want to say I appreciate you were doing your best to get the hate cycle to stop. I also want to ask you to not push the Emil and Masae hashtag. I think it is best we do not lump them together on anything moving forward. Thank you, wishing you the best. Astral Alchemist responds, I'm pushing it as they both need support. NintendoCapriSun thought of it and Chuggaaconroy approves. If they or Masae want it to stop, then sure, but as of right now, both need love and support. And then Chugga responds by saying, maybe we should tone it down. I meant just to promote our peace for one day and then let her be. I liked Tim's tweet because it was cute. So now that all the stuff between Chugga and Masae has been sorted out, let's take a look at what Lolly had to say about Chugga's recent statement. The same friend who posted her last Google Doc, Worster, quote tweets their old post with a link to Lolly's new statement on Google Documents. It's titled Riri Chugga, Content Warning, Self-Harm. I would like to start this out by saying, Emil, I do not and have never wanted you to harm yourself. I'm sorry you were at such a low point that you considered ending it all. And that's not what I ever wanted by coming forward with what I have. I was horrified by the thought there might have been others like me at the time, minors, that you spoke to inappropriately or worse. And there would have been no way to know if it were like that if someone didn't say something. I'm sorry if you felt as though I backstabbed you. I still stand by my decision, and am relieved beyond words that it doesn't seem to be the case so far. As your former friend and someone who still cares about your well-being, despite circumstances being like this, I truly hope you can recover and find happiness. My original statement was made because I realized how much of me and Emil's past was unacceptable from an adult to a minor, and my main worry was that it wasn't only me. In Emil's statement, He also agrees it's not acceptable behavior, and that is why he allegedly cut me off. Which brings me to why I'm making this new statement. I never wanted to have to come back to this, and I didn't think I'd need to, but I feel as though it's my responsibility to let people know that several of the things in Emil's statement were untrue. It's not something up to interpretation. It's not a case of he said, she said. It's simply just not true. Below are screen caps of Emil's statement for reference. I did not speak to this person for another 10 years. I had no intention of ever re-establishing contact. 10 years later, they approached me at a convention, and that was how we became friends again. I thought after that long, she was a new person and deserved a second chance. As for the modern stuff they showed, that was after more than a decade of no contact. I had only vague recollections of what our conversations were like back then, and years into this new friendship, there was a moment where it really hit me, that I will never speak to you again. The hardest part of all of this was going through our chats to find proof of my intention. In doing so, I opened up a time capsule. Lolly comments on these parts of Emil's statement by saying, the allegation that he cut me off with no contact and that there was a 10-year gap between us speaking is just simply untrue. And if he claims he went through our chats together, he would definitely have known this. The original logs, the ones from Meebo to Gaia in the first statement, were from across 2010. After that, we transitioned to talking on Skype and then to Discord. Skype saved conversations locally back then. Unsure if that's how it still is, but those logs are inaccessible to me, otherwise I would have included them. We had been friends on Discord since March 19th, 2017, and transitioned from Skype, which is why it seems like we just pick up from where we left off. We spoke casually, not daily of course, but at no point was contact ever cut off. We did meet at a convention, however there was no 10-year gap. The first time we met at a convention was in 2016, and it was discussed beforehand. It could not have been 10 years later, as I never attended any conventions during the COVID lockdown era, 2020 to 2022, or was even able to, so his timeline of events could not be possible. Below is a screen cap of where our conversation on Discord starts. On March 19th, 2017, Lolly says whoopsies, and Chugga responds, good, this way, I don't have to make threats at you. She responds, yes mother, thank you mother, no more La Chancellor mother. 5 months later, Chugga DMs her and says, hello, just wanted to say I'm sorry I didn't make it to blank this year. She responds, it's okay, I wasn't doing great. These next set of messages Lolly show are from December 13th, 2017 and start out with her saying, heyo, my boyfriend and I are playing through the re-release of Okami, and it's so good. It's so much fun actually getting to play it. The next day Chugga responds, glad you enjoy it. He's lucky to know the game and to have you. She responds, ah, you cut that out. Spaghettis. I showed him and he got spaghetti too. Hahaha. He said he enjoyed your playthrough. There's then no messages until the 9th of January 2018, where Lolly says, how's Magfest? And Chugga responds, well, it's over. Lolly then messages him in March and says, I hope you were okay. I saw your update on Facebook. Chugga responds, thank you. I'm in pretty sorry shape, not gonna lie. Lolly responds, oh gosh, I wish I could help out somehow. Stay strong, my dude. How have you been managing? She then shows messages from August 2018 where she says, hey, you doing alright? Chugga responds, pretty alright. Had kind of a miserable evening due to eating new hot sauce. That was way hotter than I expected, but that has no bearing on recent stuff being good. On the 30th of December, she then says, hope you've had a great Christmas. Oh right, I changed my name to, blank Lolly, blank. Man, what do you know me as? Chugga responds, ha 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 ha, I know all those names, don't worry. Hope you had a good Christmas. She responds, holy heck, your memory is good. It was pretty okay. Christmas makes me a little gloomy, but I like seeing other people enjoy it, so I may live vicariously through them. How have you been? Current day Lolly continues her thread by saying, and we continued talking into 2020, where he acknowledges we've known each other for over a decade. The messages start out with her saying, although I don't know shit about American healthcare, so I can't help with that. Chugga responds, I appreciate it. I'm just doing what I want to do the most at any given moment. I've agreed I will be better every day, even if it's in tiny amounts. I won't lie that there's stress from having only released 8 videos this year, and we are 2 months into it. Lolly responds, I know the YouTube algorithm is a hot load of bullshit, because while I'm sure any reasonable human would understand, that, also income, I can't imagine being a Let's Player. Your energy and personality are like the sellers. That hurts to hear. Ah, friend. I wish I could give you a hug. I'm not sure if it means much, but you are free to talk about it all you'd like with me. Chugga responds, it does. Don't discredit yourself. I've known you for a decade. Lolly responds, I can and I will. You aren't the boss of me. Gosh, it really has been a decade, huh? Current day Lolly comments on this next image by saying, and here is where I state he never blocked/deleted me, and he doesn't refute that. These messages are from June 2021 and it starts out with Chugga saying, oh no, not at all. Lolly responds, so I wanted wanted to sorta wait. Chugga responds, honestly, if you were worried about telling me bad stuff, I think I'm very okay about the breakup. I woke up endlessly better the day after we moved her stuff out, and I've never looked back. And I don't blame you for feeling that way at all. Lolly responds, nope, that was pretty much it actually. Chugga responds, honestly, I'd jump to the same conclusion if my friend hit the big time and disappeared. Lolly responds, you didn't actually delete me though, and you were receptive when I asked to add you on Discord. I think after a while I ended up resubbing, although I can't remember the timeline. I just felt guilty. Also, I don't know what SCOTUS stands for, but I know it's political. Chuggaaconroy responds, it's okay. Like, it also isn't a requirement that you know anything about my videos. I don't ask that of anybody I know. Lolly in current day continues her thread by saying, in 2021, the first year more than a decade has passed since the logs in my original statement, our first conversation was when Emil had reached out to me following a breakup of his partner of 10 years. And we did start talking a lot more frequently after this. I found it curious when reading his statement that this is the time frame that I suddenly exist in again in his timeline, and it deserved a second chance. I never would have shared this given that I know Emil's partner did not want anything of their relationship to be public, but as Emil himself has crossed that boundary and revealed it to the public, I felt as though it was okay to include now given that it's relevant to the timeline. And to that person, I am sorry for having to bring this up at all. There are other logs that I have still chosen not to share because they contain specific details about them. That feels unfair to her to include, even if they further prove the mistruths in his statement. Lolly then includes a bunch more DMs of her talking with Chuggaaconroy in Discord. This first one is from May 22nd, 2020, when Chugga says, oh man, I've been wanting to get to that island. It's apparently huge for making money right now. Lolly responds, and Lord was it. Then a year later on May 14th, 2021, Chugga says, wow, that's a long time since we last talked. Lolly responds, oh my god, it has been. How are you? Holy shit. Chugga responds, I'm a mess. She responds, oh gosh, I'm here for you if you want to talk. Chugga responds, well so, we had our charity event and it was great. We broke all sorts of records and raised $434,000. I was left pretty exhausted from the last 3 days of being live. On Monday, I couldn't stay asleep. On Tuesday, I had an awful nightmare that woke me up after 4 hours. Wednesday, I caught up a little. Then yesterday, my girlfriend of 10 years stopped me as I was going to bed and told me she thinks our relationship may be over. We stayed up till 6 a.m. talking about it. I'm not optimistic. And I could only sleep for about 3 hours. I feel so exhausted. Lolly responds, yeah, I saw little bits here and there on Twitter after the fact. It looked like a lot of fun, but I can defs understand feeling exhausted. I'm so sorry. Is this coming out of nowhere, or was there some kind of lead up to it? Either way, I'm here to support as best I can. God. Lolly continues her document by saying, below is another screen cap of Emil's statement. Though, I guess I'm surprised at this. We were friends up until this. Got along better as adults, and I was glad to have you in my life without that inappropriate crush. It was basic knowledge to both of us that you were the one who wanted me, and I shut it down. I even apologized last year for asking for roleplay stuff. Lolly comments on this by saying, he claimed it was basic knowledge to the both of us, that I was the one who wanted him and he shut it down. However, even in the screenshots provided in his document, see below, I had no idea what he was referring to. He could not have shut it down, because I would have never outwardly told him how I felt when I was 15. And I even mentioned this in the screen cap he provided. She then shows a message from Chuggaaconroy on June 7th, 2021, where he says, based on my past rejection of you, I don't think I have to justify that I wouldn't to you. She responds, you rejected me? Oh, that makes sense. I was gonna say I would never have told you I had a crush on you. I was big chicken. Current day Lolly continues her document by saying, however, in 2021, Emil directly communicated to me that he had feelings for me, and I did not reciprocate. The first time his feelings for me were made clear was in a Discord call, and as such I don't have a log of it, but I have plenty of logs clearly referencing and repeating it. I would also like to add that I'm only even discussing this as Emil has made false statements about these events. It's not a topic that I ever wanted to speak on, as I did not find it relevant. The only reason I am is because I find myself responsible to clarify the false and inaccurate statements made about me. Lolly then shares more Discord DMs between her and Chugga from July 2021, where it starts out with Chugga saying, okay, well, that's nice to hear. I'm glad you feel that comfortable about it, but still, if you need to take it easy, that is okay and I encourage it. Second, there's no way around this because it's already out in the open. You won't be bothered by how I feel about you? Lolly responds, it should be okay. Then they say a bunch of personal information that's blacked out and then says, so this would be like super okay. Chugga responds by saying, again, if you're sure, if you want to talk about feelings, I'm happy to answer any questions you have. I think that's fair to you if you don't return how I feel and are coming to another country for me. Lolly responds, you are a very good friend of mine and I care about your well-being. Me doing this is because I want to be able to support you if I can. You like this person and I wouldn't want you to miss out on something if I could help it. If anything, I'll just ask you generic questions like, how do I function knowing my friend wants to insert wiener into port 1? Chugga responds, sure, and I appreciate that so much, but I don't want it to come at the expense of your mental health, or just at your expense in general. Chugga then responds to the port 1 joke by saying, ha 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 ha, you're giving me the no controller error. Lolly responds, again, it ain't just you though. I've actually expressed this to this person. I have this worry that no one is my friend because of like, I don't know, me being cool or a good friend or anything like that. I'm just a hot dog holder. Chugga responds, if I'm being serious about what you said, I would want to take things slow if I were to date someone. I'm not after instant sex or wanting something specific out of it. I would want to test the waters and see how well we'd work, going one step at a time. My feelings come with how well we work together, emotional support, how well you know me, and how much we seem to entertain each other. It isn't about hot dogs for me. Lolly responds, what? Life isn't about hot dogs? Chugga responds, but I'm saying that my feelings aren't about that. I like you for who you are and admire things you've done. Lolly responds, yeah, something like that seems a lot more reasonable in my opinion. I usually just hang out with someone as friends before figuring out like feelings. Do they exist? Yes or no? I guess I'd prefer the more organic approach. You have no idea how many people I've ghosted when I was younger because I am spooked as heck when someone's like, yeah, I like you. And I'm like, huh? What the fuck do I do? Chugga responds, ha 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 ha. It's so like you with how you handle compliments. I hope this isn't overstepping, but I think that's kind of beautiful. Like, to me, it impresses me how you've made me feel despite not really consciously trying to be attractive and just being yourself. I think that's the best. Lolly responds, oh dude, ha 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 ha. If I'm legitimately into someone, I drop my fucking spaghetti all over the floor. Speech goes from 100 to 0. Chugga responds, ha 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 ha. You were laid back and relaxed with me, so I guess that's a bad sign apparently. Lolly responds, correct. And then Chugga responds, I hate you. Ha 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 ha. Lolly responds, I'm sorry, I'm a very strange person. Everything you know about human interactions is a lie. Just assume I'm in a separate category. Chugga responds, I do that with everything else, so I guess it stands to reason for this too. Lolly responds, yeah, actually, you should vaguely remember what I'm like if I'm crushing to someone. Granted, I'm like over 10 years older now, but behavior-wise, me dropping no hints at all is probably a hint. Chugga responds, it's weird if you aren't all flirty and making innuendos. Lolly responds, wait, do you mean like now? Chugga responds, no, I just mean that if you aren't doing that, it means something is up. Lolly responds, oh god, do I seem flirty? Chugga responds, not often, but there were a few times I thought it was happening. Lolly responds, maybe the plays just tell everyone I'm a lesbian. To be fair, I know I get really spaghetti if I really like someone, but I'm not super sure how I act either. If it's apparent enough to me, it's not like I won't tell the other person how I feel. Chugga responds, the inner mechanisms of your mind are an enigma. Lolly responds, so I wouldn't worry too much about trying to read signs from me. At the end of the day, I'm very straightforward. Chugga responds, this is actually pretty similar to me. Due to not being neurotypical, I've usually been pretty straightforward with my feelings and make myself easy to read because I'm no good at holding it in and being sly. Lolly responds, heh, thank you for holding. Chugga responds, I mean, you did figure it out within a few weeks of me feeling this way. You suck! God damn, it's not fair how funny you are and how I can't get mad at it. Lolly responds, I mean, you can. I'll just run with it though. But, Chugga responds, my anger would just empower you somehow. Lolly says, I don't know why I'm this forward, but the idea of someone getting the wrong impression from me is also scary because I want to be understood. I guess that's why I tried to be very straightforward. And 100% yes. God, I love salt. Chugga responds, you are a meat eater to the last. But yeah, I guess that about covers it. That's where my feelings come from. I respect you not reciprocating and would be respectful about it if you were trusting me with going on a trip with you. I know you are not in the best mental state and haven't moved on in a lot of ways, which was why I wasn't going to tell you how I felt for a long time until you asked, but you wanted to test the waters with me. I'm into taking things slow and think it would be the healthy approach for me anyway. These next set of Discord DMs are from 5 days later where Lolly says, that's not what I want. I just want to feel like I belong somewhere and have a group of friends that are like family, that don't just keep me around because I'm cute and a girl, and have a chance at scoring with me. Chugga responds, I understand you were lonely, and I hear when you said you want more friends. That's fair and I get it, but I don't see you that way, and I want to make that clear. Lolly responds, I think I told you about that story. I don't know. Ever since then, it's just been a really big concern. Not to mention just, I've had a lot of people I thought were friends confess, and when I was like, huh? They just kinda go. Like, thanks. Glad to know I was important to you. It's a genuine fear of mine. And my doctor said something to the effect of that having a bad impact on my view of myself, because that's how other people see me, it's reflected in my own view of myself. Chugga responds, when you told me you weren't ready to think about that, I didn't go anywhere, did I? I can tell you not everyone is like that, and there are people who will like you for you. I like you because I feel comfortable with you, and I like you understand a lot of what I've been through and am going through. That's more important. That and making sure you got through these times after you helped me through it too. Lolly responds, sorry if I'm super apprehensive. I want to believe in you, but I think it will just take some time for the fear to pass. Lolly continues their thread by saying, hopefully this is enough evidence to show that he's not telling the truth. Whether he is intentionally being dishonest or not, I cannot say for certain. Hopefully with that perspective, you might see other statements he made are not as factual as Emil claimed them to be. Below is another screen cap of Emil's statement. I read through all of it, and to my surprise, she's the one who initiates the roleplay. She's the one who pretends to tickle my feet, and go much further than that too. She was the origin of it, at least in this chat. I don't know if she's where I got the idea from, but it's possible. I guess it's neither here nor there. I didn't know I was into that at 19 anyway. Lolly continues her statement by saying, here's the actual part of that log, in which tickling and feet are mentioned. This was provided in my first statement. I am including it here again for reference. They then show the messages between Chugga and her from 2010, where Chugga says, psh, don't even try to cover up your feelings. Lolly responds, but there is none. Are you trying to confuse me? Jigglypuff is confused. It hurt itself in its confusion. Chugga responds, I think it's time for payback when you were stuck like that. Emil used mimic. Emil used detract. Lolly responds, oh crap. Jigglypuff used glom. You suck. Chugga responds, you love it. You know you do. Lolly responds, Jigglypuff used tickle. Of course, Jigglypuff. Not really. Chugga responds, ah, no. Don't tickle my feet. That's the worst spot. Lolly responds, Jigglypuff used tickle. Hee hee hee. Jiggly nuzzles on. Chugga responds, no, stop. Give me back my shoes. I mean it. You're mean. Lolly responds, lost connection. Throws your shoes into a river. Jiggly? Chugga responds, no. Why? Did you? Lolly continues her document by saying, it's very clearly Emil brings up his feet being tickled. At the time I thought nothing of it, but knowing what the topic means to him now, and seeing him lead the chat to that in 2010 when I was 15 was concerning to me, and knowing how many other fans he had, I worried that there may have been others. I don't know what he felt or thought at the time, but I can say with the knowledge I have now, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Below is another screen cap of Emil's statement. After a little while, things started to escalate, and they sent me a sexually explicit gift to my house. It made me realize they weren't being silly. They were romantically interested in me, not the other way around. The whole thing made me and my mother uncomfortable, and after deliberation, I not only rejected them, but cut off all contact with them. Current day Lolly comments on this by saying, I wanted to be specific about the gift I sent to Emil. It was a shirt. It had an arrow pointing up saying, the man, and an arrow pointing down saying, the legend. The kind of lame gag gift you'd find at Spencer's. You can decide for yourself if that's something sexually explicit. I didn't think of it as something that would make him uncomfortable, but something he'd find to be funny. I'm sorry if that wasn't how it was received. And then they show another screen cap of Emil's statement, where he says, I would not be sharing this if they didn't post anonymously. I cut contact with them thinking they just had an innocent crush that needed to stop. It was a lot worse than that. I was disturbed to find they admitted that in those old chats, their goal was to manipulate me into having sex with them. Lolly responds by saying, to begin with, this allegation is horrifying, and nowhere in the logs he or I provided did I say I was trying to manipulate him into sex. I said I was sad when I turned 16 because I genuinely thought that being younger was better and that men wouldn't be interested in me when I was legal. That kind of thing is horrible, and I understand and acknowledge this now. But back then, there were so many people that joked about stuff like that, and to me, someone who sadly grew up online around a lot of these people, I thought it was true, but never Never did I try to manipulate him or anyone else into sex. This is perhaps the most disturbing comment made. Not because of what happened, but as a general comment about the topic, it is very harmful. Many people might have the takeaway from that comment that underage people are just trying to manipulate adults into sex. The underage person is to blame, when it is the responsibility of the adult to not do anything sexual, not the other way around. He also went on to say later in his statement that I wanted to use him for underage sex. This again is not true. I did not even admit to having a crush on him at the time, let alone pursue him for anything sexual. It's a very harmful statement generally speaking, as people might have the takeaway that a minor wanted to use an adult for underage sex. Once again, it is the responsibility of the adult to not do anything sexual, not the other way around. It would have made a world of difference to me if an adult had explained to me what I was doing and saying was wrong and why. My views were warped, and it wasn't until years later that I did finally figure it out for myself. I also did not frame my first statement as if Emil was preying on me. I did not frame it at all. I provided all of the logs I had from 2010. Once again, everything I posted here has been screenshotted and scrolled through with Worcester to verify the validity. I also want to point out that nothing in my original statement has been questioned, even by Emil himself. In my original statement, I said that he said things to me while I was underage are not okay, which he agreed with. She then shows another excerpt from Emil's statement where he says, even given the time, if you still felt like that chat was getting out of hand, I agree with you. In fact, I agreed with that when I was 19. Lolly said she didn't know why our chats ended abruptly. I can tell you exactly why. It was because I disliked the direction of these chats and how young she was, and I've told her this numerous times. Lolly continues her document by saying, the only things people have questioned are things I never said, the words that were put into my mouth by others. For example, nowhere in my first statement did I say I didn't know why our chats ended abruptly. The final part of my statement said the following, yes, it really does just end here. Blame 15-year-old me. What ended there was the logs that I had saved, not our conversation. I never said anything about not knowing why our chats ended abruptly. The conversations continued over Skype and then Discord, as I previously mentioned above. They then show the part of Emil's statement where he says, contents of this log existed when you did. I was extremely hurt to be judged from something so long ago, and that the headline was worded like I assaulted someone. Lolly responds, similarly, I never worded anything like he assaulted someone. I also never attached any labels to Emil himself, nor have I made any statement or provided any evidence of things that did not occur. I have only told the truth. I really didn't have to want to come back to this, and I have no intention of doing so moving forward. I only did so to make clear that several of the things he said about me and our history were blatantly false. I wish the best for everyone involved, and that includes Emil. Please do not harass or target anyone. Be kind to each other. So that is finally the end of Lolly's Google document. As mentioned earlier, it was posted by their friend Worcester on Twitter, and Chuggaaconroy responded to it by quote tweeting them and saying, I wasn't trying to distort things, and I'm happy to make corrections. Many of these conversations happened so long ago. It's difficult to remember everything with perfect clarity. I'll try my best here. First, I believed my mom when she said Lolly had a crush on me after she sent that gift, and I still distanced myself. It was clear to see that I was correct. I stand by what I said, that I knew things had gone too far when we were younger. I similarly cannot verify when/how long we talked using Skype. I know we didn't talk for a long time. Whether it was zero contact or minimal, I'm not trying to obfuscate. My intent was the same. I said my goal was to slowly fade out in the screenshots I posted, and not let anything develop on either side. Regardless, I distanced myself for years and thought she deserved a second chance much later. I was just mistaken that the adding as a friend happened at a con. I did add her 7 years later and not 10. We briefly chatted a few times, but it's months/years between until we actually reconnected in 2021 and became good friends again. Later, when she told me she wanted to have underage sex with older men, it contextualized what the intent appeared to be with her crush, so I apologize for that misunderstanding, and I still prevented anything from happening. As for who originally brought up talk about shoes, I apologize for speculating about that. It wasn't relevant. The logs she posted were probably the oldest record I've seen about that, and I still didn't know it tied to any kink due to my inability to enjoy sex. I've been in a headspace of deep self-reflection for the past several months, so I've been struggling to make sense of these through lines in my life. I also appreciate you wishing me well. I will miss you. #FreePalestine says, saying I will miss you about someone you claim to have cut contact with to avoid making things uncomfortable with seems very hypocritical. Chugga responds, as adults, we were good friends after reconnecting. She really did help me through a lot, and I said I cried when I realized I'd never speak to her again. I don't think that's so strange. Keychamp responds to Chugga by saying, doubt you'll see this, but 2010's internet humor aged like milk. A lot of our older stuff is catered to that kind of audience, but it's clear that you evolved over time, and came to learn that it wasn't okay. This is just a hard lesson to learn. Glad you were getting help though. Chugga responds, yeah, I made jokes in my videos back then like this. guess. It was just the style at the time. Antagonist responds to Chugga by saying, if I may ask, I find it a little strange that you didn't directly respond to your conversation about dating. I'm not sure how much it matters in the grand scheme, but you did respond to everything else, so I'm just wondering if you could shed more light on that. And then Chugga responds by saying that they never dated. So that is about it for everything in regards to Lolly. Now we get to the last major accuser against Chuggaaconroy, Lady Emily, and her response, which actually didn't come from Twitter, but rather Reddit, in response to this big 40-page Google document outlining and explaining their opinion on the situation that is mostly in favor of Lady Emily. She responds to this post by saying, thank you so much for putting this together. It's really helped lay out everything that's been in my head the last few days. As for the gap between June and September, there's primarily nothing interesting there. Just talking about video games, personal life stuff, and one moment we're in the middle of talking about Zelda, he brings up my shoes for no reason. The shoe RP didn't really fully start until September, when he found out I was sick and then started talking to me more and more, and thus started bringing up feet more and more. But yeah, as far as what's been public, you've laid it out well, and your examination of everything is spot on. Thank you for this. It's honestly helped me a lot seeing it all laid out like this by someone else, letting me know that I'm not crazy. DH Lawrence responds by saying, not to intrude, but do you plan to make a response on Twitter? I believe you and hope things will get well soon. Emily responds, I have no idea to be honest. I keep going back and forth on it. Right now I'm just trying to lay low. I deleted Twitter off my phone and I'm trying to stay offline as much as possible because it's just been a lot if I'm quite honest. And I don't know what else I can say beyond what's already clear. And quite frankly, I'm tired. And I'm afraid of anything else happening to me and my family. The only thing tempting me into making a response is the weird false accusations that I doxed people. Because not only is that demonstrably untrue, but considering I was actually doxed and all my personal information was actually placed online, I find it incredibly insulting to have it turned on me. But more than anything, I just want this to be over. Anima Starara responds by saying, in my humble opinion, trying to argue the point further is not going to get you anywhere. Staying safe and mentally healthy is far more important than talking to a brick wall to scrape off some of the rock. Emily responds, you are 100% right. That's something I've had to internalize these last few months. The people who dislike me will always dislike me, and there's no arguing or evidence that can change that. And that's just how it is. Best I can do is try to be safe and do what good I can going forward. So a couple days later, Emily did end up making a response to all of this on Twitter, but instead of responding to Emil's statement directly, she instead quote tweets a 56-page Google document exposing one of Chugga's fans for being toxic, and says, I wasn't going to talk about the situation anymore, but this document does a good job chronologuing a lot of what I've had to experience the past few months, and how toxic the overall community has been towards me in the interest of accountability. It's disgusting and upsetting. In particular, my doxing where mine and my parents' names, addresses, phone numbers were posted online getting turned into a story of me doxing someone because I didn't blur out the username of a user who had been yelling at me in my mentions for months is particularly gross. I genuinely hope that Jane Doe is doing well and safe, and I'm sorry for what happened to them in their past. However, trying to turn this into a harassment movement against me, especially by continuing to share their personal details to do so, is shockingly disgusting. Here's a small sample of the stuff I've had to deal with this week. By the way, just to give a frame of reference for what it's been like day after day, after day after day. She then shares 4 images. This first one is an Instagram comment that says, you murdered Chuggaaconroy. This next one is a YouTube comment that says, liars have even been promised cruel and eternal punishment. Dante, in his Inferno, hurled them into the 8th circle of hell, along with other falsifiers, putting them one moral step below violent offenders. She then shows a bunch of comments she's getting on her new video that are transphobic, calling her a doxer, booing at her and throwing tomatoes, saying she lied, saying the horde's coming for her, and stuff like that. And then she shows this Twitter reply from Nate Wild who says, nice haul. I promise to not harass you, by the way, even though you basically shamed a beloved autistic YouTuber with existing mental health problems and almost drove him to suicide because you just kind of felt like it, and now refuse to even acknowledge your wrongdoing. After showing these, Emily continues her Twitter thread by saying, this isn't getting into the weird multi-hour streams full of people calling me evil, saying it's fine to be attracted to children's figures, and that it's morally fine for a 19-year-old to date and flirt with a 14-year-old. Literally every move I've made this past few months has been documented, shared, hyperanalyzed, and attacked by the very same crowd trying to present an aura of positivity and anti-harassment and anti-cancel culture. People get mad if I say nothing, and mad if I say anything. Please leave me alone. This situation should be over. Nothing good will come from this. Everyone wants to move on. Yelling at me will benefit no one. You'll just be sending harassment towards an autistic trans woman online in the interest of accountability, whatever that means. I do want to send Emil my regards and hope for his improvement and congratulate him on taking the steps to recover. I'm genuinely so sorry for the mental distress caused by all this, and I hope you can come out of this better and healthier than before. With that in mind, this will hopefully be the last time I ever talk about this, and hopefully everything can be laid to rest and over and done soon. Please leave me alone and let me exist and be better to each other. And that is about it for everything in regards to the Chugga statement. And honestly, I don't think I'm gonna make another video on this subject because I feel like everything that needed to be addressed to the public has been, with even more that didn't need to be addressed, and with the 3 main people mentioned in Emil's thread already responding, I think this is finally the end of this situation. So with that in mind, I would love to hear what you guys have to think about all of this in the comment section below. But please keep it to the comment section. Emily or Masae or Lolly or Emil or Tim or anybody does not need to be asked questions anymore in this situation. They've answered enough, and it does really seem pointless to badger them for any additional information or thought when they've already given so much. So let's just keep the discussion to the comment section and not directly contact any of the people involved. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you want to see more Twitter drama, be sure to subscribe to this channel. But if you're interested in gaming content, I have a couple videos that I've worked very hard on in regards to the game Pikmin on my second channel, so you can check that out if you want to. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video.